I'm getting the American beer. Never mind.
Oh, if you did, I'd have put my Stella hat on.
Nah, I got the Yingling brewed in Pennsylvania.
Instead, I'm wearing my cap that everyone's going to be like, oh, have you just got off the court? Have you just been playing tennis? They're going to be giving it all that shit. I don't care. It's really hot, and this is nice and cool when I got a headset on. That is the only reason I'm wearing this cap. It is so hot at the moment. It's ridiculous.
If you didn't just get off the court, why are you wearing that tennis skirt?
Well, no one can see the skirt. Go. That was pre being live stuff. Yeah,
wait, you said we were live?
That's different content.
Yeah, I mean, we are live, and you've just said that. I mean, honestly.
No, everyone's going to be asking to see the skirt.
Yeah, well, they might see it when I... Can you imagine when I go and grab a beer, and I trundle off, and I have actually got a skirt on? I kind of want that to happen now.
You somehow have one in the back for, like, reasons no one can explain.
Yeah, under the desk.
Pop it on the way back. Yeah. Actually, I do have one.
Hi, guys. Hello, viewers, guests. So, Big Willie is back again. How are you doing, my man?
Not bad. Yeah, thanks for having me back. As always, doing pretty good.
Good, and Go, my partner in crime.
Yo, yo, yo. What's going on?
Have you noticed the tone instantly? How happy I am today to what I was like on Friday.
Like, hey guys, we're live. Go, it's your show. What do we have?
Yeah, it's not season of Discovery today, so little bit more of a spring in my step. I mean, all the bottles of Corona and the fact that I've had barely no sleep and I've been streaming constantly since Friday probably don't help, but yeah, I'm excited for today because we've got some... we've got one really big hot topic, but I think it's going to stem a lot of conversation. Like, there's going to be some really... I think there's going to be some clashes between us, the comments, each other. Like, there's going to be things some people would want and others wouldn't, and I think it's going to be interesting.
Everybody was against me on the last show, so hopefully I can... get together with you guys on a couple of these ideas. I don't like being the odd man out, you know. I like
You're always the odd man
agreeing with me. I know.
Yeah, but you always say such stupid fucking ideas. Like...
90% of the time, but you know, 1 out of 10. I get every blind squirrel gets a nut.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
But those 10% of the time, 100% of the time work, don't they?
They're phenomenal, dude.
Cool. All right. So, Go. Do you want to just do a bit of an intro, like general housekeeping? What we are actually going to talk about, if you want to spoil that, and I'm going to grab myself a beer.
Yeah. So this is not a Classic Plus discussion that we're having today. It isn't involving like the leaked survey or anything like that. Although some stuff does kind of mix with that, I think, because we're going to be talking about like a fresh classic, and not just classic era, not just vanilla fresh, but like what would happen if Blizzard were to roll out all of the expansions so far that we've had from 2019. So if we get vanilla, and then we get a TBC, a Wrath, a Cata, and it's all back from the beginning, how long should that take? Should there be any changes made to each of those expansions? And yeah, all of that stuff until we catch up to MOP or wherever it is where those two things would catch up. So this is something completely separate. This would coincide with Cataclysm if it happened to launch beginning of 2025, and it would also coincide with Season of Discovery. So something to kind of fill in the little gap in between, like kind of like right now, like SOD's been out with Molten Core. We've got Tier 11's been out. So it's like if there's people are bored with those already, this would be something that they could hop onto. If they didn't want to play a classic era that's strictly no changes, then this would be like another option for the classic players to go to. And throughout the show, if you want to help support us, get the super chats rolling in, give us questions, give us your feedback, give us your opinions, your ideas of what you think that you would like to see from what I just explained. So there we go, Scotty. You've got your beer. I need to take a sip of mine.
Okay, well, so interestingly, a couple of things that Go said there as well, like 100% right, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing. But a couple of those things that he said is probably the things that we should hit on early as well. You know, as in, like, we'll go through vanilla, TBC, RAF, Cata, MOP, you know, you said all that, and then where those meet. You know, like, it would be interesting to get some thoughts early on, once we obviously catch up with Willie first. So, like, the first point of call when we do catch up with Willie will be, well, where, like, is it, would it be a great idea to actually have a server with a defined end date? Like, this is where it ends. It's not like, oh, it's fresh and, oh, you know, when Cata moves on to MOP, you might be in TBC, and now they're all moving alongside each other. Or would it be a little bit more of a seasonal thing? You know, but again, we'll obviously get onto that. Firstly, though, Willie, we've not caught up for a while. So what have you been up to?
It's been a bit now, I guess. Yeah, since, you know, Raph has gone to Cata and all that. And yeah, I've for the most part, I've just been on Cataclysm. Was looking forward to tier 11 a lot. And it's met my expectations pretty much. I was worried it might be a tad on the easy side, perhaps. But I think even though it's not, you know, in its entirely original format, it's a lot of fun. And playing a healer in Cataclysm is the best healing experience we've had in Classic so far. By a mile, it's just not even close. So I'm glad I've re-rolled to that. In my opinion, at
you
least.
stuck with Priest?
No, Paladin.
I ended up playing, Paladin.
Oh, Paladin.
And I'm also playing a Resto Druid.
That's disgusting, Go.
So,
you don't remember when guests come on and they tell us stuff.
I swore
He was going to be Priest originally. Priest was his original plan, but then he went, like, you've got to listen to the guests, man, when they come on.
Yeah, it was Priest originally, and the raid said, do you want to play Paladin? I said, I want to play a healer, so I played a Paladin in the end.
That's what it was, okay.
Pretty much. As long as I can main spec healer, I'm fine. I've been doing a lot of that. And other than that, for World of Warcraft at the moment, that's basically it. I haven't been playing Season of Discovery. I'm still level 50. I don't really see myself playing Classics endgame a bit more. We'll get into that, I guess, when we're going over fresh as to why I wouldn't play it anymore, even with changes or without changes. I'm not sure what degree of changes would need to happen for me to want to play it. If anything, the next version of Classic that I'll be playing will probably be hardcore over anything else apart from Cata.
Something is creaking and breathing into the mic, apparently. Is it my fan? Because I'm not being funny. It's so hot here, I can't take the fan off me, even if it is the fan. Someone said it was Go.
I can't hear your fan.
I can't hear anything, no.
No, sound-wise, is everything all right? Or, like, chatters, is everything all right? Someone said it was Go. I hear no creak or fan noises. The thing is, even if it is my fan, I cannot take it off me. 'Cause honestly, it is fucking boiling. Like, it cannot come off.
Yeah, I'm sweating right now too. Like I sit at work all day and sweat, man. It's ridiculous here too.
Fixed now. Right, okay. All right, cool. No, I think we're good. Okay, so Willie, a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So are you doing... So I know you said before we actually went live, you was raiding on, like, multiple characters. 3, I believe you actually said. Are you doing just 25 mans on all of them, or are you doing 10 and 25?
All 3 are 25.
Oh, have you done any 10 heroic at all?
Not any. No, not even one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my camera's drunk.
It's the same, innit? Everyone's either like all 10 or all 25.
Yeah.
Every guest we have, there's no like I do 10 and 25. Go does all 10. Geordie only does 25. You only do 25. I just wondered if you, if you would have seen any difficulty difference between the two and thoughts on loot and stuff. But yeah, if you only do 25,
I guess it's just the I guess it's just the guild they prefer 25 because you get 6 items instead of 2. So yeah, if you can do it, I think people just tend to do it because there's just so much more loot.
Yeah, you just get showered in it.
Like when you kill a boss and you get 3 trinkets, it's like 3 Heart of Rage or something. It's crazy.
How is the random static loot in like Conclave and Alakir? Has that gone over well with like 25 player guilds?
No, the random stat loot is genuinely terrible. I've no idea what they were thinking.
It's been bad for us too in 10.
Put some proper loot in the game. Like, what the hell is this?
Because we're getting more of that in Firelands, right, Scott?
I
I think there's a couple pieces.
there's a
that are
couple
random.
of pieces, yeah, but yeah, it's not like a specific boss. There's just some items that have
Like,
yeah
it's so
random
difficult
stats.
to get a ring. Getting a ring in tier 11 is. I'm still using the archaeology items.
Ooh, I just
And
got
some
my belt
characters.
finally last week.
Although
like
the
week
the ring
10.
at least from Tolvia.
So what do you raid on, Willie? So obviously Holy Paladin is one of them. Have you got multiple
Yeah.
Holy Paladins or?
He said Resto Druid, Scott. If you would pay attention to the guest when they
Sorry,
say what they're playing.
I might have been paying attention to the fact that someone said your mic sounded like shit, mate.
Oh. No, I've got the Holy Paladin, I've got a Resto Druid, and the Warlock, of course.
Oh, okay.
Gotta have the lock.
And is Holy Paladin the one that you feel stronger on? Like, because I play, well, yeah, we play almost identical classes, except for I don't raid on my Warlock too much. I go to GDKPs on it.
Yeah.
But I love Resto Druid. Like, my Holy Paladin's cool. Like, I like the Holy Paladin, but Resto Druid is, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I probably enjoy the Resto Druid a bit more, but Holy Paladin is way stronger.
Oh, yeah.
It's not close, unfortunately. Holy Paladin's an absolute beast.
Yeah, 100%.
By like a long way. You pretty much never go You've got insane cooldowns. You do very good AoE and single target healing. It just does everything basically.
I'm surprised you haven't got a Disc Priest.
No, well, I was going to originally. I thought I'll stick to 2 healers and play a DPS.
Disc is
So
so
I'm doing
fun.
something different.
You should get Disc up, even if it's just for pugs or GDKPs. Oh, my Disc Priest with like Bell Heroic and Dark Moon Car Volcano, just pumping. Not even what. If someone actually dies, that's a real healer's fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just pumping.
Atonement will get them.
Yeah, and if it don't, that's their fault for being stood
Yep.
too far away from the boss.
Yep.
Uh,
I mean, it's a good expansion to play a healer. You do really feel like you can make a difference.
Yeah, it's banging, man. It is banging. Cool. Well, yeah, as long as you've been having fun. So you're not like, it is mainly predominantly Cata.
Yeah, with Season of Discovery, I've watched a bunch of the endgame stuff, and it just feels like Cataclysm, but worse. Like Molten Core isn't as good as Tier 11. I don't think any raid in Classics is as good as Tier 11, by the way. And the way classes play just, again, isn't as good as they are in Cata. It just feels like an inferior experience for me, so... And I want to commit myself to like one version of the game pretty much, so I've just been on Cata.
That's just music to my ears. Tier 11 is... Yeah. I love Tier 11. I've always said, like, it is... Yeah. It's one of the best... when I say one of, possibly even the best opening tier of any expansion. Like, ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm replaying it now, and it's as good as it was back in the day. Now, the expansions where I played and I've raided, it is the best opening tier for me. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. It was the first month hype for me, but I think the past month has been kind of like, all right, I'm ready for the next tier. You know, like ZAZG, it's not hitting for me. Like Firelands can't come soon enough. So yeah, opened great. Like I loved leveling up. Like leveling speed felt great. I loved getting all the reputations maxed out, getting the professions up. Like I loved all that stuff. But now it's just like give me the next tier. Come on.
Yeah, I think most of us that have been clearing content for multiple weeks are, kind of in the same boat. You know, as in you're sort of just going through the rotations of it all now. Do you know what I mean? You're going and turning up and doing the raid, not getting that one item that you might have left that you need, and then you're leaving until the following week. But it's still fun. There's not many shit bosses in Tier 11, in my opinion. Maloriak's awful. Like, delete Maloriak. And I'll be honest, I still don't I'm not a big fan of Bastion of Twilight. I like Sinestro. I like Cho'Gall. I like Council Heroic. But, like, Twins... I think, actually, what I'm trying to say is all the really easy bosses that are just completely face roll and boring, like, delete them from the game. But they were fun the first few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem would be the amount of trash in Black Wind Descent. That's it. basically.
Yeah. And there's not that much strategy.
There's just like nothing in Bastion or Twilight, so it seems like a lot. In Maloriac, there's this like strategy where you're playing a Holy Pally, and you interrupt every single ad cast, and when they release them all, you heal a Warlock a bunch with what's it called?
Yeah, where he's life tapping.
And
your
all the
right
ads run you, and you ring across them, and you run around, you ring across. I get to do that. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, we've been doing that. That's fucking bizarre, isn't it? Because do you remember about how long ago? Maybe 5-6 weeks ago, when we had Riani and someone else on, and we were talking about weird strategies that we do in raids, and that was mine, wasn't it? I was like, we'd probably do Maloriac a little bit weirder than most, and I was like, we have our Holy Paladin. Yeah, kite the ads, they get aggro, and then they bubble, the ads run away, they cancel their bubble, they run back. Like that's literally what we've been doing more or less since week 1.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's makes you not have to mess around with the ads for ages as well, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, Zerg strats are great
many
fun.
bad bosses. Mm-hmm.
Right, let's move on to we've caught up with Willie, so let's move on to the big topic. So I suppose the best place to start would be, yeah, are we ready? Like, you know, with the current all the current offerings that are out, you know, with Season of Discovery, which in my opinion, Season of Discovery has kind of been bleeding numbers since sort of Phase 3. I think Phase 2 was still pretty hype, pretty peak, you know, in terms of amount of people playing, and it's kind of been bleeding numbers. Actually, I would say since it went to 20-man raiding. That, like, you know, don't shoot me. That's just my, like, it could be a strange coincidence, but it went to 20-man raiding and then slowly sort of tapered off. But we got that, we got Cata, we got Retail, we got Classic Era. Like, would there be any market for a complete fresh start from vanilla to X? Like, we don't know what that would be. Like, as this discussion goes on, it could be TBC where it ends, it could be RAF, it could be Cata, like wherever it ends. Would anyone play it?
I absolutely would. But there would have to be a lot of changes, and we can go over those changes. But I would much prefer to play that than Retail, and much prefer that than Classic Era or like Hardcore. So it's like I would have 3 games. Yeah, I would play Cata, Sod, and like this fresh experience.
Willie, thoughts?
Yeah, I think the duration and like the amount of expansions, you have to imagine it like if you said fresh and it's going to be like a multi-expansion thing, it'd be the first 3. I think that's what people would automatically assume you go for most people anyway.
Yeah, which I think
like
would be acceptable.
Yeah, it's like what kind of duration? I think duration's the hardest bit, because even with Classic, when, you know, all these various expansions we've had so far, there's inevitably the guy who turns up 4 months after the phase is released and said, wow, I've just started playing, how come they're rushing it? And it's like, I'm sorry, like, the world can't wait for you forever, kind of thing. If if you miss the boat, then you've missed it. And if you for example put every expansion in a 12-month duration, some people are going to say that's way too fast. Some people are going to say it's too slow. The people who say it's too slow will be the people that will actually play it, by the way.
So this is where at the start, where before we sort of started chatting, it was the whole like, should it be seasonal? You know, rather than saying like, this is a one-off, this is Classic 2.0. You know, it's starting at vanilla. We're going to go all the way to RAF, but RAF is the end point. At the end of RAF, you can either move your character to Retail, or you can move it to maybe Mop or whatever WOD, like whatever that's in at the time, and then it resets. You know, so like that's it. It's a hard cut off date. This date is when the server ceases to exist. You have to force migrate your character somewhere else. Like, should it be like, if it was more like that, like you could almost warrant an really increased speed. rather than it being like if it was 12 months an expansion, that's great, but I still think that's far too slow for the vast majority of people that actually want to play classic nowadays. I know there's a lot of people that enjoy slow paced blah blah, but like I'll use me as an example. Like if I could go on and do the leveling, it was launch night, go on, spend a week on there, get to 60, maybe do one molten core, and then be like, wow, Blackwing Lair is going to be out in 3 weeks. Maybe do one Blackwing Lair, and the content's not going to be difficult. Like the purpose of it is not for it to be difficult. It's just to like have fun. And then for me, I'd like quite happily skip TBC and be like, oh, TBC starting, but Dragon Soul's coming out. Like I'll focus on Dragon Soul. Like if I miss tier 4 and 5, like whatever, I'll go back for Black Temple. Where it is moving really fast, but you've got those sort of catch-up mechanics in place, which we'll obviously talk about, where it kind of don't matter when you jump in. It's like you can jump in, it'll feel like it was back at like 2019, 2020, 2021, but just very quick. That's sort of how, me personally, how I'd like it, where then it just resets. It's like, 2025 it launches, 2026 halfway through it's done. Then it starts again. It's season 2 of it. It's basically what I'm saying is it's a fucking private server. It's not.
It just flies through the content pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone just gets to go on and have fun.
I don't know about the whole seasonal thing. I was imagining like an era after every single expansion. So there'd be some changes to vanilla, and then once it went to TBC, there would be a vanilla with changes era, and then after TBC goes to Wrath, there would be a TBC era, and it would just stay at the end point, whatever the last patch is. So everything would be unlocked. But I didn't think about having it like reset too, like have that as an option to stay there on like the whatever server it's called, the host server, the main server, that once the seasonal server resets, people just keep going and filling up that one at the end of it. I don't know about resetting in seasons on top of this, like on top of a fresh with era servers after.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Why would there need to be era servers after?
Just because at the end of TBC, a lot of people were asking for TBC era, and we didn't get that. And then because I think a lot of people were expecting it after we got it for vanilla. And then same thing for Wrath. It was like, like where's the Wrath era servers? And if Cata had an era after Cata was done, like I think that Cata should have one too. Like every classic expansion that we go through, if we get to MOP, which everybody thinks we are, then I think that there should be an era after MOP too. So that's kind of like my end date for this whole fresh thing. It would be however far this classic version goes, the era versions would catch up to it and have an era like realm.
Do you not think, like, actually, Willie, what are your thoughts on how that would work? So I know loads of people have wanted like a Wrath era server. I know people that are not playing well now because there isn't one. And if there was one, if Wrath Fresh pops up tomorrow, they'd be back, they'd be subbing, they'd be playing. But I think era is such a bizarre place to be. All the content's out. It's only going to be people. It's a weird. Like I would never go. I play Stormforge Season 2 on MOP. I wouldn't go and play Stormforge Season 1, where all the content's out. Like it's just a weird place to be.
Pretty much it. Yeah, it'd be like if this fresh thing was happening and it was on a rotation, it was seasonal. Then you'd have Season 1, and then someone gets to the end of TBC and they say, "Okay, we're going to Wrath," and it's like, "Oh, I'll go TBC era." And then, I don't know, another 12 months later, there's more people joining it. And, like, I don't know, I've always been, like, in favor of there being era realms for different stuff. But if they haven't done it yet, I just don't think they're going to, basically.
Yeah.
Even if it's just reasons like you'd need multiple different versions of the game installed, need to be hosting multiple different versions of add-ons. It would look messy on the Battle.net launcher. I don't know how you'd make it look clean. Just even reasons like that, maybe stuff why they don't want to do it. Because there'll be like a million different drop-downs, and if you're a new player, it'll be confusing.
Yeah, I already think it's a bit confusing now, actually. Granted,
Yeah,
I think...
yeah, I do. If you see World of Warcraft Classic, you're like, what's that? You're like, what's that? And it's like 3 different games, actually.
Yeah, you got
And there's no way
classic,
of knowing
classic
until you log
Cata,
in.
classic era, hardcore, sod. Like, yeah, there's a lot going on.
And
Again,
then you'd have
there could,
TBC, and then you'd have Wrath.
yeah. See, I'm the only reason I'm not a fan of that personally, as much as I crave like different expansions at times. That's why I play so many different expansions, because I like many of them for different reasons. Me right now, as in the last 24 hours, and if you want evidence, you can go over and check the VOD on Kick. I've been on Sod. Obviously the war with him pre-patch, so obviously I'm on retail more than anything at the moment. Cata, Mop private server, Cataclysm. Like, I've been on 5 versions of WoW in 24 hours. So like, I like that. I like it, but at the same time, what I don't want is them to just add something that ends up as a graveyard, because I honestly think it would. Like, if there was a Wrath era server right now, I would people be raiding on it? Yeah, I absolutely think they would.
I mean, I don't think Era's a graveyard though. There's 17,000 logs.
No,
every week.
not classic era, Wrath era or TBC era. If they would have done
I'm just
that.
saying, yeah. If there were more eras, I think that there would be a healthy population on them, because the realms are all kind of like cross realm. It's not just like, one realm's dead. It's got like one raiding group on it or anything like that. Like everything's cross realm for that. So
Yeah.
I think, to me, that's how they keep it alive. Like everybody can play together. You don't have to realm transfer once your server dies or anything like that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not saying classic era is a graveyard. I'm saying I think if they done TBC era, Wrath era, I think they would be graveyards. Because I think there's still a like the majority of people, and I use majority loosely. I can't know for sure. Look forward to the next challenge. As in, it's like, right, some well's clear. We've been farming some well. Would they want to stay there doing that, or then move on to the next challenge being Wrath, and the same from Wrath to Cata? I think they'd have like they'd have people playing there, but I just don't know whether it would be a particularly enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it'd be pretty. I mean, if they did do some fresh thing where it rolled over, then you would have geared characters that would be put in that environment, and they'd kind of understand what error would be. As opposed to if they just did error, everyone would have to be fresh, and it would be super dead for a very long time. So if they did some like fresh project where you could like stop off before the next expansion, that'd probably be better for doing those as error.
Yeah, like that's what my plan was.
Yeah.
You'd go through it all
Long term. Yeah.
And they could monetize it. They could make it the way that they did back in 2020, whenever it moved to TBC, and they could be like, hey, if you want to pay for your character copy, then now's your chance. But this is going on to TBC, so you can start fresh in TBC, not pay anything. You can not copy your character and have characters in both. But yeah, at that point, it would be, this is now an era vanilla with changes, and now the main group, the main pack, goes on to TBC.
Yeah, I like options. Yeah, again, that's why I play so many different versions of the game. So I'm kind of, I said probably 2 years ago that it blows my mind that Blizzard hasn't kind of just completely crushed the private server scene, because they've got the, without shutting servers down like Turtle WoW, they've got the ability to be able to do it if they implement things right. And there's tens, 20s, 30,000s of people that play on these private servers, obviously myself included, and even with Blizzard, I've never hit that. So, like, having... It's kind of why I'm saying, like, that this new launch, this sort of Classic 2.0, would be better being seasonal. So anyone can jump in at any point, or if they look at it and they're like, there's only 2 months left, I'll jump in when it's the next season. Because again, I do that with private servers. I'll look and I'll be like, it's in the final phase, the final phase, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, that there's going to be a new season that starts. But I do find it crazy that there isn't the options. I just wouldn't have them as era. That's the only place we differ. Go like I would have a graveyard or an era server, like whatever, but I would keep them cycling. Have a TBC server go from fresh all the way till the end, and then I don't know, maybe 5 months of Sunwell, and then once that's done, boom, all the characters are transferred to this era server or graveyard server, and now it's season 2, then it's season 3. Like they could keep that. Trust me, there's people out there like 10, maybe 20,000 people that would fill that server up every day for maybe 4 or 5 seasons in a row. The same people would probably play TBC for five years. Once it starts to taper off, then you're like, okay, well, like, we're just going to leave it in the end phase and just let it die kind of thing. But it's the same with private servers. Yeah. Every private server, it's all the same guilds. It's all the same people most of the time. You get new faces, don't get me wrong, but the top guilds on Stormforge Season 1, they're still the top guilds on Stormforge Season 2. The people on Warmane, Frostmourne Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. It's all the same because that's the expansion that they want to play.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I don't know. It always goes back to that splitting the player base, and if there's an era and a season at the same time, and there's 4 different expansions rolling at the same time, that's a lot of different splits. So I wouldn't be opposed to seasons, but I feel like personally I would just be on the graveyard realm. I kind of like that we can just refer to it now as the graveyard realm. Like that's where my character would be. I don't know if I would be like redoing the fresh seasons over and over again, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's the seasonal format's kind of, at least for private servers, it's proven that it's worked.
Yeah.
And that's, it's got that track record. And I think if you have a start and an end date, then, I mean, people are still going to complain, but just play the next one. If you don't have time, if you think it's too late, if it doesn't fit in your life, just play the next one. If that doesn't fit in, play the next one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, having a definitive start and end date means you know when it's going to happen. It's not going to be, am I too late? It's going to be, well, it ends in 2 months. Are you too late? You answer that.
I would. Like I've said so many times, I'd never go back. Like we're in what I consider my prime when it comes to classic expansions now. I love Cataclysm. I love Mop. I love WOD, and I've been talking a lot about WOD the last few days. Don't worry, I'm not going to start making WOD content, but like I've been talking a lot about WOD. Honestly, when I really think back to the mythic dungeons in WOD and the raids, like they were top tier. Even if the rest of the expansion, some of the systems in it weren't great, like the PvE content in WOD was awesome. But if they could they should almost just have a server for each, like even if it was just one NA, one AEU, because there is an audience for each of them. There's a lot of people that first started playing WoW during MOP, and if they heard that World of Warcraft was doing an official MOP seasonal server, it's starting on this date, ending on this date, then you can move your characters wherever. But don't worry. When that finishes, we're starting it again. It's going to be season 2 with changes, or whatever, with more bonus weekly events or whatever they do. Private servers work, like you've already said, Willie. Like it's proven. They've been going for many years. They make a lot of money. Trust me. Like for some of these private servers, have got like 4 or 5 people working on them, and they make a lot of money because the things they do are kind of what some of you that are watching now want, but you don't know you want. As in, they do changes that I'd be like, if I hadn't played on a private server, I'd be like, are you fucking joking? Like, racial shift. That's ridiculous. And then I play and I'm like, man, this makes sense. When I'm actually, then I'm doing it and I'm like, yeah, being able to pick the aesthetic that you want. So it's like, right, I can my character on Horde can be Blood Elf or Tauren Paladin, but I kind of like Arcane Torrent, but I'd rather look like a Tauren. You know, I can be a Tauren and then go to an NPC and change my, you know, whether it's you're paying for it or whatever you're doing is in with gold, not real money, to then take the racial of another race that can be your class, you know. That's things like that private servers do, and they do it really well. But that we might get to some of that, which changes what we would like to see.
But do you want to address really quick what I penned with from Daleks? They said there's cool ideas that we have so far, but they have such a small team and each version suffers. See Cata and Sod both suffering at the same time. To me, like most of this stuff, I feel like I'm not a dev at all in any regards. I feel like they could almost just flip a switch at this point. If they wanted to have a Wrath era server right now, I feel like they could just turn on a Realm. We could go over a few changes that we wanted to see on that server, but to me, like the groundwork for all of this stuff is already there. They've already gone through the dev time, like they put that behind them. So I don't feel like they would have to spend much time outside of SOD 2 or SOD Phase 8 or Cata Mop and spend too much time on this idea.
Yeah, I mean, you'd assume so, right? People always go on about classic, like this old expansion. How is it taking them so much work? And you see how Cata released, and it was a bit of a mess. So apparently that's not so true. But yeah, especially with like Wrath of the Lich King, where they've released the whole expansion. You know, they've done changes. It was on its final patch on, you know, whatever the final patch version was for Blizzard. Like they've done that. It's all out there now, and surely they have a snapshot of it. If they don't, then I mean they will do. Like there's no way they don't.
Yeah, I think a lot of the dev time might have been spent on them catching it up to the Dragonflight like server, like patch whatever. And now that it's there, everything should be compatible. I feel like there's nothing separate really behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's Wrath Classic patch. I don't know what the final patch was, but you've got it there. You've got your Titan Rune dungeons, you've got all your new currencies and your stuff like that, and the framework's there, I guess. If you want to make it a thing, then I imagine they could.
You would kind of like to hope that they could almost set a more or less a timer for each phase and go, on this date, this patch goes live. On this date, this patch goes live. On launch day, they might need to be on call, just to make sure that everything's gone according to plan, but you wouldn't like to think that there's that much work involved there. But my worry is that, like, everyone's saying that they... I've had a lot of people say to me recently that they think there's going to be a vanilla fresh launching soon. You know, because the classic era, like Go said earlier, you know, there's 17,000 people still raiding, which is that's decent numbers. So they kind of like deserve a fresh. But I think they'd get a fucking shitload more if they launched and I'd probably play the first few weeks, but if they launched a fresh Wrath, that's it, just Wrath. They said, look, it's going to be Wrath for 12 months. I think that would do far better than a fresh vanilla server. And I think TBC would do better as well, if I'm honest. But like when they've got it there, just do it and just see what happens. You put one server on NA, one server on EU. If they fill up, open another server on each. Just give it a go.
So if they did a vanilla fresh, I feel like they would have to do two. They would have to do one with the changes that we would all want to see, and then they would have to do one that was no changes, that is current vanilla era restarted. And that would have to go through like all the patches and shit, like, of course. And it would still be what it is right now on the servers that are live. You know, like that would be its own fresh, and we would have like another fresh. So it would get fucking confusing, but like that's still what I would like to see. Like two separate vanilla freshes happen at the same time.
Yeah. So I've had a video like scripted, like written, you know, that they're ready for about 11 days now. And I've not done it purely because I wanted to wait till this episode of the podcast went out first. Because I thought, well, some interesting things might come out of this that I can then include. Be like, oh, Willie came up with this, or, you know, Go said that. Because it's to do with this. You know, it's along the same lines. Yeah. And I kind of saying it about the whole... if you was to do a vanilla to Wrath, that's it. Like we was to say they're going to do a seasonal server where it's vanilla to Wrath. You kind of want it so fast that you can't have ults. Of course, streamers, people who play the game for a living, all they do is sit and play WoW, they'll probably have multiple ults. But your average person that gets to play, let's be generous and say 6 hours a day. Go to work, they get back, they can play like 6 hours a day. You're going to go through the entire thing with one character. Because the content's going to be coming so thick and fast that you wouldn't be able to physically keep up with two characters. Doing splits would almost be impossible for most guilds because it's coming that fast, you just can't do it. So then when Season 2 happens, it's like, I want to do that again, but I want to do it as a rogue this time. Or I want to do it as a tank this time. So like, even though it's the same thing, because like in Cata, I've tanked all tier 11 heroic, I've healed all tier 11 heroic on every healer except for a shaman. I've DPS'd all tier 11 heroic on pretty much everything other than a hunter. Everything is there. It's so slow that, like, for someone like me who's a fucking loser and gets to play WoW a lot, I can have multiple 85s and raid on multiple 85s, but I want it almost so fast that I'd be like, shit, like, how the fuck am I meant to get an ult up in this, this time?
You got to pick a main kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so then you go through a season.
That makes sense as well. Yeah, and then you say, this season we had this guy in our guild who was playing, I don't know, a rep pally, and you're like, oh, actually, that looks kind of fun. Next season, I want to play a rep pally.
Exactly. And then maybe by the time you've done it 3 times,
come back.
And by the time you've done it a few times, you might then actually go, fuck it, I liked it when I done a rogue, I'm going to do a rogue this season. Where...
this time I'm going to get glaives, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something like that.
So that's sort of my thought process, where it's like, it is coming fast. No, you're probably not going to get full bis before the next raid opens. Like, it is moving quick. The content's not, like, tuned to be for streamers or Progress or Newman or it's not tuned for them. Like, if they don't want to play it, then fucking don't play it. It is quite easy. Obviously it will get progressively more challenging because when TBC you'd start in vanilla where Molten Core's easy, Blackwing Lair, like all of that fairly easy. It wouldn't be changed. It wouldn't like be 20 man. It'd still be 40 man. Like, everything would be true to how it was.
Yeah.
But then, like, when the buff comes out for Lich King, you might have, like, 2 weeks with 0% buff. Then it'll be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, done.
Yeah. It'd even be interesting in a way, because I know what people complain about. They're saying, oh, I don't have all this time to play WoW, so I can't keep up kind of thing. But even if you're just in a guild which is, clearing the end bosses of a raid 3 or 4 times before the next thing comes out, you're going to be going into the next raid with a bit less gear. Like, there'll be less focus on completing your bis list. They'll be like, we need to get, as strong as we can. So the next tier will be coming out, and then we can take on the next tier. We may not be as geared as we were before. We might have more progression. It just might be a bit more of a challenge and a bit more interesting to that end as well.
And that's what Matty just said. Yeah, that's what Matty just said, Willie. Yeah, he's like, going fast already increases difficulty, by not being super geared when the next phase comes out. But I would be all for, if you was to say realistically, let's say, like, I won't say what I really want to say. What I really want to say, I will say what I really want to say. But maybe it's a little bit too short. I would say 4 months in expansion. And I know that's really short, but I would have like a yearly cycle. Yeah, 4 months of vanilla, 4 months TBC, 4 months Wrath. Reset. Yeah, it would be fast. It would be that fast. But, if you was to say 6 months of each, if you want to do a year and a half, so you're still zooming through it all. I would be all for catch-up mechanics. Every catch-up mechanic that's been added in TBC, Wrath, fucking bang them in. Bang them in earlier, if we could think of good ways where you could put them in earlier. Like, get them in earlier, where it's like, I've only realised that this server launched, and Nax is out. I really want to get in Nax. I want 2 or 3 days of playing the game, and I want to be able to walk in Nax. You know, like literally, that's it. I want to be able to get on. I want to be able to level. I want to be able to get gear quick by farming heroics or well, dungeons in vanilla to be able to get gear to get into, you know. So it would need to be really. It's kind of like Season of Discovery in a way, but without the drastic fucking. Everybody's got all of these new abilities. Well, they're not new, like recycled abilities.
Yeah,
it's just
like to get the runes.
Yeah, it's just like speed. Like, how can we get people in content really quick? Honestly, I think it would be a winner.
That's the only thing. If it was on a yearly cycle, or you know, year and a half, whatever you have, people. I know when they get burned out of it, they say, you know, we did this not so long ago. You know, I've done it twice before. It's kind of losing what it had now. Or is that kind of just inevitable? Do you reckon?
Go.
I'm just burnt out of seeing the same thing again and again on such a fast pace.
I feel like when somebody burns out, somebody replaces that person that's coming in fresh that hasn't played it before. So maybe it's somebody from retail, maybe it's somebody that hasn't even played WoW before. But I feel like somebody's always like, "Oh yeah, I haven't done this in a long time," or "I've never done this," and they're filling those shoes of the people that are leaving.
Yeah, or this season fits your timetable, so you want to play it.
Yeah. Oh, I just had a baby last year during season 1, but now the baby's in foster care, so I can join season 2.
Yeah, and you'd have the basically the people who are going to play the expansion no matter what, like the people who play every single private server of an expansion. They'll be all over that, every single one.
So I burn out more of doing the same thing over and over again. And I know it's a personal thing, like you can shit on me in chat and in the comments, like, you know, but, you know, I burn out more by doing, you know, tier 11 every week. You know, I've had to cut down on the amount of characters I'm doing it on because I wouldn't say I'm starting to burn out of it, actually, because tier 11's, it is banging. I'm still doing it on 3 characters, which is, you know, a decent amount, but I was doing it on 6 characters. So, like, I've cut down on the amount of raiding I'm doing even in tier 11 because I know I'm starting to be like, oh, fucking raid night again. When you start being in that mentality where you're like, oh, raid night, you know, you're kind of like ready either for the next thing or you should be doing something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a bit of a separate thing, but I don't really think you're meant to play MMOs non-stop. You're kind of meant to do the content for a bit and then stop playing and then come back. And if you're playing them non-stop, you have to be pretty damn keen not to get burned out on the game.
And that's why I do all different things.
Of this genre.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't take breaks from the genre. I take breaks from the expansion. You know, I play all the different versions and sort of that's where I get my fix. But like, I don't think I would burn out from it being fast. Like that would actually keep me hungry for it. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, shit, I mean, we've only got 6 resets to Molten Core. Like, I mean,
it's progression over farm.
You
just get bored of farm. You're like, you know, I could get this. I don't really care about it. If like the bosses are dying anyway, so you know, great. I don't care if a third-party website tells me I've got a 99 or not. I just want to, you know, have some decent progression.
Well, I've just pinned McNulty's comment in. I didn't even want to pin his comment. I didn't care what he said, but he's.
That I was the best dad.
Yeah, but that weren't what I was pinning. I was pinning just to point out him as a person. So McNulty's attitude to raid him was, we clear 13 of 13 heroic, and he was like, "See you in Firelands." You know, like, it was literally like, well, I don't really care about getting Biss. He's still raiding, don't get me wrong. He's raided every week on 2 or 3 characters since. But he would happily be like, well, what's the point of raiding more? Like, we can do it in the gear we've got. Like, yeah, that is literally how he thinks, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Raid done. Yeah, no, I used to do it on retail. But when I do cutting edge, I do, you know, or mythic, and I wasn't in particularly the best skill, but it was, you know, good people to play with. And we'd clear the bosses once, and then we'd stop till next tier. And we'd get cutting edge, and then we'd stop. Just like instantly, and then wait till next tier. Probably spent too long on progression, but, you know, it was still a fun way to do things.
Yeah, and you was getting gear, because you was getting gear from, like, let's say you was progressing the 7th boss, you're getting gear from all the 6 bosses as you're farming them to progress on the 7th, yeah. I mean, but yeah, when you've got enough gear, you've got enough gear.
Getting. Yeah, it felt worthwhile getting. It's going to help on that end boss. And Blizzard do put a sort of end date on Cutting Edge as well. You can know when the nerfs are coming.
Yeah.
And you got to beat it before they nerf the crap out of it. Otherwise, why bother? Pretty much.
So if... Go on.
I was kind of thinking of an 8-week, like, per phase. I don't know how long that would be. That might be different for each expansion, depending on how many phases each one had. So, like, to me, that was my sort of, like, speed, my kind of, like, cadence. And then it would be, like, a 1 week after launch. I don't know if that would be included in the 8 weeks or not, but, like, the raids are locked for 1 week after the phase launches. I don't like that, but I feel like the majority of people kind of like that idea. It's like I'd be fine with that. And then, like, in between, there would be like a 2-week pre-patch too, in between the phases. So it's like the timeline, I didn't work it out. I don't know if that's quite a year. I feel like I'm kind of in between, like, the year and the like the speed that you're talking about, Scotty. But while we were talking about it, I was kind of thinking, like, if it is sped up like that, then I feel like a lot of the guilds would kind of not force, but they would be pressured to go back and do the previous tiers once the new tiers came out, because it's like, whoa, yeah, we're going into phase 2 now. Like, we're going into SSC TK, but we don't have that much loot from tier 4. So, like, we've got to still do Mag and Gruul and Karazhan and all that shit. So now it's like we're adding raid nights, like, tier after tier, because it is so sped up.
But that's fine, right? Because it would, like I say, it would be easy. It's all post nerf. Like, none of it's really a challenge. Like, even tier 5. Like, everyone loves tier 5 pre-nerf because of its difficulty, but that wouldn't be kind of the purpose of the server. Again, this is like my vision. Our visions could be different.
Post-nerf.
Yeah. I wouldn't have any of it like overly difficult.
There wouldn't be a pre-nerf, whatever the serpent lady is at the end of SSC.
Vash. Well, I mean, maybe you had a week or 2 weeks of pre-nerf. I don't know if you wanted to please everyone, but no, that sort of, that's not like how I see it. Like, I see it as rush. Like, it's fine. It's fine that the bosses are easy. Yeah, like, so everybody can have fun. Like, even the real sweaty, speed runners are still going to enjoy speed running the fuck out of the content, even if it's easy. The casual guilds are not going to have so much of a hard time to keep up with the pace of the content coming. That's my view. There would be nothing hard in there. The difficulty would still naturally ramp up because the content throughout the raid tiers just gets harder. And the fact that, you have got less time to get gear. But when, like that, what you're saying, like, you're not going to be wiping in tier 5 for hours on end trying to progress. Like, it's going to be fairly quick to get through it in post-nerf. So, yeah, sure, like, if you throw in a raid night where you go back and do tier 4, you got more to raid. And because you've only been doing it, like, if we use your timeline, you've only done it for 8 resets. Like, you're not going to be, like, bored shitless of it where you don't want to step foot in there again. Like you won't mind as much.
Okay. But yeah, Willie, what do you think? Because I'm curious.
Yeah, I think I mean, it wouldn't be bad to see some kind of, like, pre-nerf for a short while after a new raid comes out, because casual guilds might not see it all the way through anyway. So it'd be kind of fine to do that. And as far as going back to different raids, I think it's so ingrained in people's mental now that they want this and they need to get this, that I think people have kind of forced themselves to do it even if they didn't want to be honest. I know for, like, Mag, you go back for the wand. What was it from Kara? Not too many things, I think. Gruul, of course, the Drake Fang
DST,
thingy.
yeah. Or DFT.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there's bits of a dragon. Yeah, it's BWL. Gruul's same thing.
Mm-hmm. So Willie, so Scott Lowry, shout out to Scott Lowry, big man, has said, I don't think many, if any, casual players would really be able to keep up with that. So I suppose that's like a good place to start, because it's a really good point. So if it was accelerated that much, as what we're talking, where you're talking a couple of months of phase, which really we're only talking season of discovery levels, by the way. Like, like if anyone could keep up with season of discovery, which I believe is still very casual friendly, that's all we're talking. We're not talking this is for like the hardest of hardcore people. This is like for everybody. That would be my vision, would be this is for everybody. Like, what changes would there need to be so everybody can keep up?
Ooh. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing you should need to do is, there's a lot of catch-up things putting the game throughout its duration, especially in TBC where they made achievements not required anymore. They lowered the requirements for the heroic keys down from revered to honored. They did a bunch of different things. You could increase the amount of badges you get from heroics, stuff like that. Just the catch-up exists, but you could probably just ramp up the catch-up even more, so people feel as though they have more options to get gear and just choices at an earlier stage. I guess that's what you'd have to do, pretty much.
Yeah. Go. Any thoughts on keeping? And I suppose, like, if we go with Scott's point, like we're talking like let's say mega casual. We're talking a guy who logs on for a few hours a couple of times a week. He just logs on when he's got time. How do you keep that person playing a seasonal server like this that feels like it's moving so fast?
I think this is a good time to address the GDKP topic, and it should not be banned like it is in SOD. Like, GDKPs to me is a good help, like a good catch up. Like, you can just hop on whenever you want to. Like, whenever you have time to hop on, you can find a raid. You can spend your gold. You can buy your WoW tokens if you want to, get your gold, pay to win, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and hop into a raid. So GDKPs, I feel like, is a nice little system on its own. But yeah,
that's a spicy take. Fucking hell! We'll be here all night. Jesus.
Pay fucking money, guys. You want that loot? This is your season to spend that $1,000. I hope you've been saving up. But I'd be down with like extra loot. Like if the bosses drop not like twice the loot, but maybe like 1.5.
Yeah, no, don't worry
like
about that. I think for socials or for really casuals to keep up, it's got to be like we're talking key things, not like loot don't really matter. We're talking leveling, attunements, reputation.
Double XP.
I think we're talking
double XP. Yeah, like it shouldn't take long to level in these servers, especially vanilla. If you're talking like a no XP boost vanilla, like fresh, fuck off. Like we need some fucking XP. And then
that would if you're trying to convince people. One time XP vanilla on like a 6 month duration, it'd be dead on arrival.
Yeah, there's
you have zero chance. Zero.
I got some spicy ones to throw in when you finish, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh well, I've got one.
Go ahead.
No, if it's seasonal and you want to help out casual people, the LFD should be in every version of the game.
Yes, Yep.
That was going to be one of my spicy ones.
Meeting stones, like summoning stones in vanilla, fucking throw that shit in there. Like, you shouldn't have to fly around like after you found a group.
If you want the journey, classic era, pretty much.
Thank you. Preach it, brother.
If there was a fresh vanilla, and like I genuinely mean this, I've said loads of times, there's a lot of people, like, but more so probably the people watching on Kick at the moment more than YouTube, that really know me, like, and I've said so many times, fuck that. If they launched a fresh vanilla server, no chance. Like, I will not be on it. If it had random dungeon finder from level 15, there is at least a chance that I would play on it. That's all it would take. And I know that sounds really minor and petty, but if there was a random dungeon finder, there is a lot more chance of me at least just logging on there once I'm 15 and queuing for a dungeon when I'm bored and going and doing them. Rather than LFG bulletin board or making groups or no. So that's a big one for me.
Let me clear something up really quick. There might have been people that just joined. We're talking, there's going to be a fresh era server that launches in addition to this server. So if you want that, it takes fucking a month and a half to level up to 60. You would have that. This is something completely different that we're talking about. So yeah, if you want the no changes, no LFD, that option would be there for you. We've covered that earlier. So thanks for joining in to the conversation. Now you might have already left because you hated LFG so much or LFD so much. Like this is something for a brand new idea that we're talking about here, guys. Not an era fresh. Like that we're fine with that. Enjoy that. Play that. Go for it.
Do you want me to go even more mad? Even more mad? Do you want me to boil the blood of everybody that's watching? Not season 1.
I've got so many. I've got so many to boil their blood.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start. So not with season 1, but with season 2, let's say. And the reason I say not season 1 is because, like, you got to hold a bit back. You know, if you was to do a season 1 where it's going to last, let's say, a year and a half, all the way from vanilla to Wrath, you got to hold a little bit back and probably do a bit more development for season 2. Season 1 would be very bare bones, basic, make it as easy as possible for Blizzard, get it out, get it fresh, like get people like on the bandwagon, and then season 2 is where you could spice it up a bit. I'd have Raid Finder. I genuinely would.
Raid Finder.
Yeah, I'd have Raid Finder
for that on my list.
Yeah, well, I'd have it for every tier of content. For the super casuals that they ding 60, they've never seen Molten Core before. You've got this super melt version of Molten Core that's so easy that it just chucks 40 people in, and you can more or less press all the wrong buttons, and it doesn't matter. The stuff's gonna die, just so you can experience the content no matter what. And the gear's going to be shit that you get.
My biggest issue of Raid Finder has always been I had to do it. As long as there was absolutely no reason whatsoever to ever do it, if you're in a raiding guild, then okay.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
Like it has to be completely worthless. Like not even better than dungeon gear.
It drops dungeon gear.
It has to be genuinely bad and just for the experience.
Just let it drop the dungeon gear. It doesn't drop raid gear. It drops your pre-raid gear from Sholaman's strap.
I wouldn't even want it to. I wouldn't want it to replace any dungeon, to be honest.
Yeah, I say, the gear would be garbage. You're going in there for the experience, to see the content. So if you're a super casual, trust me, everybody that plays Classic and shits on Raid Finder has no idea how valuable and how good Raid Finder actually becomes, like later on in the expansions. In Cata, Raid Finder at the end, shit, because like Willie said, it's almost mandatory even for people that are raiding heroic. Even for the top 1% on your server, Raid Finder in the first couple of weeks is mandatory.
That was my problem with it.
Yeah, take that away and put it in for what it is for, and it's like there's 40 guys that are, or girls or something else. Like there's 40 of these things that they don't particularly want to join a guild. But they'd like to see Molten Core just to see what it looks like, what the bosses are like, and it's almost just like dribble proof. It's impossible to wipe. You're just in there, and like I would have something like that. But again, we ain't got to fixate on that because I know that's a bit of a spicy one.
No, you're good.
What we want is a AI follower. Molten Core raid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're doing...
That'd be better than the people you'd be grouped with.
They're doing story raids, aren't they? So, like, you know...
I read that for the Palace thing, whatever it's called.
So
or something.
You're going to be able to go and do one-man raids.
Yeah, I read that and I thought, wow, LFR should have always been this, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
From day one. This was people like say it's tourist mode and stuff are like, okay, we'll take them on a tour. Like this is what it should have been. Not like stacking up determination and, hoping no one leaves or something.
Absolutely.
Right, so if that was in season 2, okay, Scotty. But season 1 with LFR, whatever, I don't know. I don't know if I'd vibe with it. Season 2, yeah, like make it more accessible. But yeah, just to get it rolled out, season 1, no LFR.
And ICC had the first story mode as well. Sorry, I'm just interrupting.
No, you're good.
The little statue at the end, the IC. That's all you needed. You could have done that for Deathwing. Just been like, Thrall blasted him, and then some people who, joined the guild beat him.
Off to the next expansion.
Yeah. That's your TLDR.
Maybe this is the sod speaking in me, but give me dual spec on this fresh vanilla server too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Oh no pushback on that. Willie, what do you think? Dual spec?
Yeah, I mean, it's dual spec's kind of weird. Like, we have 3 specs. Why is it only dual?
Oh, you're a tri-specker, huh?
I don't know. Like, I think if you're gonna do it, just let people do what they want.
So we want retail multi-spec. I'm down. Give me that. I love.
Yeah, you just make a template and you press save and then you press swap to my other template. Yeah, that's the better system.
Wait, Zach's
why is it-
agreeing with triple spec? I can't agree with Zach.
Why is it only dual? Like,
Because you have to think about it. If you can have 10, 15, 30 different like templates, then you don't have to think. You just go, oh, I'm on this boss. Let me hit my template. Let me have a weak aura that reminds me to switch my spec to this boss, like specific. Like, I kind of like having the option. It's like, do I want to have 2 PvE specs? Do I want to have 1 PvE, 1 PvP? Do I want to have an AoE trash farm spec? Do I want to have a single target spec?
But I mean,
It's that much effort.
my monk is
Like,
about
even on my
3
warlock.
weeks old on retail, and I've already got about 11 specs. Like, not even joking. Yeah.
Okay, maybe people do go too, but I don't know. Because like, even on my warlock in Cata, I play affliction and demonology on different fights, but I wouldn't go and like. Actually, saying that, there's not much deviation in the Cata talents anyway, so whatever. I guess retail's different though.
Yeah,
But
it's
in
more
Classic,
the
how much
content.
difference could you really make?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
with
in
Classic
Cata,
or
in Cata, no.
Vanilla TBC Wrath.
Mm. Yeah,
But could
yeah,
you
very, very, very little.
Really
Yeah.
make a spec that's gonna make a difference?
No,
don't
I
know,
think
maybe-
3
maybe
would be
people
enough.
Could. You kind of retail though. I know that.
Yeah, I think 3 would be enough. I agree. Like, obviously, yeah, in retail, it's very different. You know, obviously, I've got like single target, mythic plus. Like, even you can have a spec on a boss by boss basis. You know, where like there's going to be a lot of AOE, but maybe you need more survivability. Obviously, there's a lot more involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, try spec. I think being able to have a prot, as a paladin, being able to have a prot spec, a holy spec, and a ret spec where all the talents are already set in place. So exactly the same as dual spec, but yeah, whichever spec you choose, if you want to respec that, you have to respec that. That would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. I just like the or at least having something like where you can preview your talents. Like, you can't even preview your talents in vanilla for some reason. Like, you misclick a talent, and it's like, what? Minus 50 gold again, I guess.
Oh yeah, true.
It's crazy.
That sounds like a
do
change.
Yeah. I like that sod change. You can go and it's like some silver. It's like 50 silver to respec. Like, that's huge. Like, they lowered that shit super low, and I like that.
Oh no, have it like Willie's saying, where like if you click it wrong, you just right click it and it takes it back out. When you're speccing down, like.
Yeah, preview talent screen. Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we're really on to the quality of life side of like what's not too far and what would please like everyone. Which like who? There's not that many people that would
somebody in chat.
I mean, in the
He's losing his knob.
in the nicest way possible. Fuck him. But like you can have. You're not going to be able to please everyone, but you're going to be able to please a majority. And there's not many people I've ever spoken to that would be like, I don't want dual spec. Like, who on earth would ever say I don't want dual spec? So,
well, the era people, but we've said they have their safe zone. They can go to their
yeah,
realms.
they've got their server. Stay on their server and don't talk about your server to us. Yeah, like you just sit there and you're fine there. Yeah, we're talking about big boy stuff. You sit back in 2004 where you belong. So what? Yeah, when we're talking about actual sensible quality of life changes, if you had a real seasonal vanilla to Wrath server, what could be in from the start? Because we know there's quality of life changes that come in TBC and that come in Wrath. But what of those would make sense where, like, straight away, like, no, you create your character at level 1. You've got that.
Guild Bank was one right off the top. I'm down with achievements back in. Do we even have achievements in TBC? Like, I would want the achievements to start in vanilla. Like you could get your Dead Minds achievement all the way back then.
I won't be too fussed about achievements. If the server's going so fast, then I don't know. Am I going to complete them? Probably not.
So the achievements wouldn't all just be like, oh yeah, you collected the head from Van Cleef, so you get credit for it, but somebody else that didn't have the head for the quest doesn't get their achievement right on launch of whenever those. Did they come in TBC or was it Wrath?
Well, it's Wrath when achievements come in.
It was Wrath, yeah.
But would it be more relevant if you knew where your character was going? So like if you had the option to take your character to retail and any achievements that you've earned in this seasonal server, your achievements carried over, even though like the majority of them you might even already have on your retail account, you know what I mean? But some of them you might do. You'd be like, oh, I'll farm the I don't know, Kuranai rep or fuck it, whatever it is in Nagrand, you know, where you get the tollback mount. Like, yeah, you know, you might farm that in this seasonal server because it's increased, you know, you're getting double reputation or whatever. So there'd be stuff that you could do in the seasonal server, which actually is going to be quicker than doing it in retail. But you know it's going to carry over to retail, and so is the mount. Yeah, like Mop Remix is a prime example. You know, there's things you can do in Mop Remix that are just so much quicker than if you wanted to do it in, like actually in retail now. And I know I'm saying retail a lot, but like the characters have got to go somewhere, and if you wanted achievements, there's got to be a reason to want to do them for everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you could, but I feel like if you want to do it on retail, it would take you no time at all for the most part, unless it's a reputation, like you were saying. No, you know, it'd take you less time, but not a crazy amount less.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about these characters ever having the option to even go to retail. I was thinking it was going to be like they would go to the era realm, like the TBC era, the Wrath era. I didn't know we're talking this could go to a retail at the end of a season too.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know
TBC
what the
era or retail. Like that would be kind of weird.
In this weird made-up world we're living in at the moment, I don't know what the options are.
I'll tell you what would be good in terms of quality of life. Better, like, how can I put it? Quest item sharing. So you don't have a quest where only one person can pick one thing up. If an item drops, everyone gets one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they've been addressing that a lot in SOD too. So I feel like dev time they've spent it. They've been figuring this shit out, and it's been working.
Just so you can, I mean, you could play with a group of friends so much easier if it was like that. Because I've done it in the past, and some quests you're legitimately there for over an hour, and you're not even contested. That's just the game, because it's an MMO, but it's like but not if you're with more than one person. Unfortunately. We're only going to drop one item at once, and it's going to take you ages, and the item has a 10% drop chance.
Yeah, I think that's a sensible. Yeah, that would be a very, very sensible quality of life change. So achievements, we're not really too bothered about. It's like, well, you would need to know the end game. You know, what would be the point of having them achievements? What about like things like AOE looting as well? You know, like if we're going even further forward.
I'd be fine with it. Like, I don't know how a lot of people would feel about it. They'd be like, "Oh, that's retail or something." But hell yeah, like give me AOE looting.
Is there a good experience in right clicking a lot? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like your character's not powerful enough to consistently kill several things at the same time. So it's like whatever, pretty much.
Okay. So all right. Well, I mean that's a good point, really. So when we're talking about, you know, you 100% know you're going from vanilla to Wrath, should it actually cycle through the expansions almost truly? So where, you know, you're going from the vanilla talent tree to the TBC talent tree to the Wrath talent tree, all the abilities are coming when they would ordinarily come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would the classes change?
I don't know how I feel about balancing and stuff like that. I almost feel like don't even balance it. Yeah, people are going to play what they want to play. If everybody wants to stack 30 warriors in their 40-man Nax, then fucking go for it.
And they can get to TBC and be like, okay.
Yeah, but
no, it's hunter time or something.
The debuff and buff limit, like, remove that shit.
Yeah, remove that straight away.
Yeah, so like you're not pushing people's world buffs off or nothing like that. And if Shadow Priest can have higher DPS by putting up 5 dots, then let them put up their Shadow Word Pain.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I was just saying, I definitely, if I was playing this, I'd want the classes to evolve with each expansion. I feel like that would be a big attraction for it. It was like you could say, okay, this time in vanilla, I've played the meta stuff, I've played mage, I've played warrior, I've played rogue, I've played priest healer. This time around, I want to be miserable, so I'm going to play a ret paladin, and you can play it for a month or two and say, wow, that was terrible, and then wait for TBC or something.
Yeah, no, I agree. And actually, thinking about how fast we're talking about it would move, I think that would be absolutely fine. And I think going through it like that, again, it's minimal effort, isn't it? If you have to think on, I keep going back to Blizzard. Could they do this? What we're talking about, could Blizzard do this? If we're saying, well, actually, you just need to release vanilla, but you need to set a date for each phase to be 10 times as fast as it was, and the same with TBC and RAF, then yes, they could do it. Like with that, we're almost saying just do what you've done before, but we just want it a lot quicker. Plus these minor changes, some of which we don't even like. Well, when I say necessarily need, I'd say things like Dungeon Finder, yes, absolutely should be in from the start. Like that would almost be an absolute. It just should be there. Guild banks. Mm-hmm. Like, guild banks and the guild system, instant mail. Yeah, now we're talking like systems that don't really affect gameplay. We're not saying like, oh, make paladins stronger, make priests stronger. It's like, well, no, the game will be pretty much how it was in 2019. Everyone gets to enjoy it how it was, just a lot quicker. Maybe increase drops from bosses because it's quicker. 2 extra items from each boss, like whatever, just because we're going to be killing the bosses a lot less. Mm-hmm. And outside of that, I'd kind of be like, yeah, that'll do.
I had some more things for vanilla specifically. No spell batching. Like, fuck off with your spell batching bullshit. Like,
no don't force bad gameplay on people.
Yeah, the Dark Moon Fair, just put it up 100% of the time in both Elwyn and Mulgore. Like, it doesn't need that's not a fun PvP experience for people that are on PvP realms to go to Elwyn Forest when it's there and to go to Mulgore for Alliance when it's in the Horde place. Like, keep DMF up the whole fucking time. Like, why?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and get rid of the 8-hour cooldown on the buff.
Yeah, there you go.
Which you cannot see in any way without an add-on.
Even have it in one zone at a time. Have it alternate weekly, so it's always up. But the actual Dark Moon Fair... no, I'm probably going too far now. Forget it. I was going to say the actual Dark Moon Fair area is a sanctuary. So you just can't PvP in it. You can PvP outside it, so people could be stood out in gank squads waiting for you. But like once you get in there, you can't be attacked. And then you get summoned out or whatever, there's ways where you could make it still a little bit interesting, where there's PvP going on. But
it's kind of weird, right? It's like... The Dark Moon Fair are neutral anyway. There aren't even guards.
Yeah. So
it's the Goldshire guards that kill me when I go to Elwyn Forest.
Oh yeah, okay, I guess they get you. Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it's not to do with the Dark Moon Fair though. Yeah, it's not guards for Dark Moon Fair. It's just from the town. Yeah.
Or Dark Moon Island. Yeah, you can have Dark Moon Island for everyone, and then that is a sanctuary anyway. Yeah, like just yeah. Okay, sorry, go.
Give me added flight paths. Just the original flight paths in vanilla, that's not enough. I like having STV is always one that people point out, like for Alliance, having like a northern STV flight path. But give me all the flight paths from like Cata or whatever. Whenever they expanded all those, I need more flight path options.
That'd kind of be a problem, right? Because they redid the map and there'll be loads of flight masters who are in places which don't exist.
And then the city gets built around the flight masters, and it's beautiful.
Wherever the flight master is, we'll build a city.
Yeah. We'll add a quest hub here at this flight master.
Add stuff around the flight master. Oh, and Northern Fellwood too. While we're at it.
Yeah.
Northern Strangleford, Northern Fellwood. I couldn't live with just those two because the game wants you to run through Fellwood many times in a row. So
you could almost have it running on a RAF engine. You know, so it would almost be in a 3.4 state, but you know,
that's kind of where I was at. Yeah.
Like you'd open your map and you could see Outland. You know, you could see Northrend, but obviously you can't get there. You know, you can't get there yet. So it would be like that, because I would have even then, you know, mounts at level 20. You know, like ground mounts at 20. Epic mounts at 40. You know, you could bring those sort of quality of life. If you had it on like a 3.4, you could have you could even have heirlooms if there was a way to get heirlooms. You know, obviously there's a lot you could do. You know, trying to be as development friendly as possible. Like if it was on a 3.4 client type thing straight away, then you've got a lot of the framework in place that brings all the quality of life changes. Like you don't want to worry about bag space.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be getting people to endgame pretty quick. That'll be the point of the server. So usually, you know, if this is an ongoing vanilla type thing, I'll be completely different. But for this, it's like, yeah, just pretty much put in everything, really. You know, get people to the endgame, get easy to catch up. LFD, it'll just be a completely different experience from how it normally is, and you know, if that's not what you want, then there'll still be different versions of vanilla you can play. Like classic era will still exist.
So I had one more kind of big one. It depends on if you enjoy your consumes and stuff, but I just thought of something else to add to it. So like the gathering profession perks that they started in Season of Mastery and now have in Season of Discovery, where you loot, for example, a higher level herb, and you have a chance to get a Black Lotus. So it's like you loot Dreamfoil, there might be a Black Lotus on that Dreamfoil, but like not have it to like make it one tap nodes too, not like 4 taps for a mining node. It can fail. Like get rid of that shit. Just let me go up to it, and as long as I have the skill to tap the node, I get all the mats in one click.
Yeah. I kind of like to see
why not again.
A way that is like all of that sort of, I wouldn't even say fucking prehistoric way of raiding is kind of not the go-to. You know, I do like the, have you got a flask? Have you got food? Have you got pots?
Weapon oil.
You know, maybe a weapon oil if you want to go, to that as well. But like, so world buffs, I would kind of have them irrelevant personally. You know, you'd want to keep it so it's quite new player friendly and the same way all the way through. Like for me, so yeah, of course, while you're doing vanilla, there's going to be like a food that you use, and there's going to be the flask that you use. And then when you go to TBC, it's going to be the same. Wrath, it's going to be the same. But just a different flask, a different food. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it being like, oh, by the way, while we're doing vanilla, you've got to go and get all these well buffs. In TBC, you don't need those anymore. You know, where you could keep it kind of fluid.
I did like the world buff stuff. I've been getting them on SOD. I haven't got them all. I still haven't rated yet, really. I did one Kazakh. But I like the world buff thing. That's always been one topic in SOD even that I'm kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it, because a lot of people have asked to make it easier to get the world buffs, even though there is Chrono Boon. So it's like, yeah, you can boon it, but there's so many raids right now if you consider the world boss raids. So it's like we have Onyxia, Molten Core, Kazakh, and Azergos. So you're not going to have like world buffs for all of those if you're doing those like in one raid night. Or even like, you know, like I feel like there's some sort of solution that could be made. Like if you attune yourself, like after you get the world buffs once, you can then purchase them from a vendor with whatever the fuck you want to spend on that vendor. If it's something that drops from a dungeon, so you're still doing dungeons, then so be it. If it's gold, then whatever. But I still like that idea of having world buffs.
Yeah, I'm
like
kind of on the
earn
fence.
them a little bit.
Well, I'm on the fence because I'm like, it would be such a
Mm.
short space of time just for that period of time where you'd be getting world buffs, and then it's completely irrelevant. For For TBC and RAF, it's irrelevant. You know, you're only going to be doing it for that period of time where, you know, this trilogy expansion or this trilogy season is vanilla. But at the same time, I understand what you're saying, because then it's the true vanilla experience to get well buffed. So
yeah, if it was like how it was in vanilla and how classes were back then I mean, a lot of people only played warrior because you could get world buffs, and it was like playing a different game. I mean, I don't like world buffs. I think they're terrible, personally. I wouldn't get them again. But yeah, it is a big part of vanilla, and having your like a lot of the rotations and what people play in their classes are very basic. So world buffs do add something to them. It just feels like such an annoyance to get them. And,
so what if it was like the
consider all
Chinese
different,
servers,
gold
Willie?
farms.
If it was just like, you know, they
yeah,
went
like-
out every hour or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, like in a major city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just as basic as that.
Pretty much, yeah. There was an easier solution, then sure, why not? Even though it's the Chronoboon, it's still, you still have to spend money getting summons to go and get them and stuff.
Yeah, I still feel like you would have to attune, even if they dropped in like Orgrimmar and Stormwind every hour, every 2 hours, whatever it is. I feel like you should still have to go out and like get a Songflower buff. You should still have to do a tribute run first. I guess the Nixia you wouldn't really have to do, like ZG buff you wouldn't have to do. But the ones that you have to go out and actually do content to get, I think you should still have to do it at least once. But that's just nitpicking, you know. That's like, if we're going for ease of access, then fucking yeah, just put them all up there. But for development time's sake,
Yeah, and I think that that would be the
I'll
key.
probably put the new buff as well, the War Chief's Blessing for Alliance. I'll put that in.
yeah. Let them have it.
So yeah, because I think
thinking
that's
that-
what it comes down to. You know, when you think about, or you know, that's what it comes down to for me. It's like you got a company like Blizzard. If it was like, right, this is what we want. You know, Blizzard, like, get your finger out. We want a nice, quick, you know, accelerated cadence, fresh vanilla TBC RAF. How could it almost come out without too much effort? You know, it's great to come up with all the big ideas of, oh, you know, you can do what you've done in Season of Discovery, or we can have this from MOP, we can have this from Legion, we can have this, you know, but then that's a lot of work. You know, it might seem simple where it's like, we just want this. That's not a lot. That's keeping it probably each expansion as close to them being able to just press go. You know, they press a button and then it starts as possible, but with maybe a few weeks of development where they've got to get random dungeon finder working in vanilla. They've got to get it working in TBC. You know, it's like they get it working in one. I'm sure they can get it working across all of them. So I like, that's why I'm on the fence with world buffs, because I don't like world buffs. Obviously, I've got them in SOD Phase 1, Phase 2, every week without fail, or every 3 days without fail. And I got it all in 2019 as a feral druid without fail, and sat in Gnomeregon getting manual crowd pummelers, you know, like hundreds of them. But it's not particularly a fun experience to put into something where it's not lasting particularly long. You know, you're getting world buffs,
Yeah.
and then they're not a thing anymore. Like, I don't know. I would almost, I actually think the Chinese platform would work well in this sort of scenario. Where, yeah, I don't know if it's exactly how I'm saying, by the way. I've not played on the Chinese servers, but it's, you more or less can stand in a capital city and get world buffs, you know, but I'd have them dropping hourly. It's like, yeah, as long as you log on at midnight or 1, 2, 3, 4, like whatever, the world buffs are going to drop, you can get them, then you can log out and you've got them. You know, something as simple as that.
I think the only pushback on that was like, well, if your raid is on Ragnaros and you wiped at 8:55, and it's like, oh well, world buffs are dropping in 5 minutes. Everybody fucking like take the portal back to Orgrimmar, and then we'll come back and we'll like down them again with our world buffs. You know.
Well, that's up
And,
to you
like,
then, isn't it?
If people do that, yeah, if people want to do that, like let them do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Well, if that's what you want to do.
I mean, if it's standard vanilla and you're wiping on Rag, then there's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can't kill it without world buff.
Don't wipe. Don't like that's my solution.
Just don't
but no,
get rid of the world buffs. That's the main thing I'm trying to get at here. Like, don't get rid of them.
Yeah, that's
what about gold farming in vanilla? Because you see what it's like in sod, right? I'm not even playing it, and
rough.
you need to farm, right? A bunch. I know they've put some new stuff in the game, but vanilla, like gold in TBC and beyond, gold's like just some like funny currency which you have, and it doesn't have much impact on raiding. And vanilla, it's an enormous deal. It's like something you need to have. And future expansions, it's like a luxury.
If it's like Scotty was suggesting, I think it was Scotty. This is only beer number 4, I think, but I haven't had beer in a while. Whoever suggested that we get the mount at like 20 and 40, like the 40% mount at 20 and the 100% or whatever, 60, I don't remember the percentages, but if we're getting mounts sooner and shit like that, then let us have like double is it double or triple in sod, like the quest gold? Because whatever that is, that's nice. I've been doing quest and at level 60, and I've been getting a fair amount of gold. So that, to me, like that's nice to have that. But yeah, tie it to quest. Like give extra quest gold.
Yeah, I think it is 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think you need to make people need to farm gold less if you want to speed stuff up.
Yeah, gold should be almost irrelevant. Yeah, you know, the same way like in Mop Remix, there's no auction house, there's no, you know, there's no real economy. Like on something where it's seasonal, I think people should be able to maybe, you know, keep professions relevant, and there should be a bit of an economy still. But yeah, you shouldn't need to go out farming for 5 hours before a raid to be able to afford consumables. Like, however that was to happen, whether it's, you know, fucking 10 times the amount of currency drops from mobs, or like whatever they've done to make it almost irrelevant. You know, I feel like that's how it kind of should be. Like, because again, it's not the server's coming to an end. Like, you know that there's kind of an end date where it's like, well, I could farm all day, but what's the point? You know, you want to log on and you want to have fun. You want to log on, you want to do dungeons, and you want to be able to get in those dungeons quick. You want to log on, you want to raid. You want the raids to be fun, not ridiculously challenging where you're wiping over and over again. You don't want to spend 3 hours before a raid having to get world buffs to then log out and wait for the raid to start to then get dispelled before you walk in. You know, you want it all just fun. You're logging on, you're doing stuff. You're getting to see the content. You're getting to down the content. You're getting purple pixels. You're getting that adrenaline rush, that dopamine hit, you know, from getting the loot. Yeah, that's how I would see it, you know, where it is, you're getting to experience vanilla almost as it was, TBC almost as it was, RAF almost as it was, but with, like, sensible changes, sensible quality of life things that are easy, where it's not like, this is Classic Plus. And the reason I keep saying this is not Classic Plus is because, man, everyone who says Classic Plus is coming, yeah, we'll see.
So there's an area that we haven't touched on, but I don't think anybody in the call has gotten rank 14. Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong on that one. But like PvP, we would have to have like bonus honor. We would have to have like faster rank acquisition. Like right now, it takes a fair amount of hours to get like your ranks up, even when it's only up to 10 max in SOD. Like at 250k, I think it is, to go from whatever point it was I was in at rank 8 to 10. Like that's a lot of honor, and like that was a lot of AV spam. But I mean, I did it. But if we're talking acceleration, then yeah, like give me extra honor per kill.
I'd even have arenas in from the word go, and solo shuffle as well. I'd have solo shuffle in right from the word go.
How does solo shuffle work? It's like a random dungeon finder before arena, so like I would get like a random arena partner if I queued up.
Yes, kind of, but so I've not done any, but I have had Majay explain it to me because he does a lot of solo shuffle, and it's along the lines of, and I'm saying along the lines because anyone who's about to comment or who's watching live and about to say in chat, oh, you got it wrong. It's along the lines of, you know, it'd be like 3v3, but you do a couple of games but you get to actually play with everybody. So it'll be like me, Willie, and Go versus them. Then it'll be me, Willie, and one of them against yous. You know,
It's
it
like a
like
round
kind of
robin.
yeah, it's like a round robin type thing. Yeah. And I really want to do it. Obviously, I've been focusing more on PvE as I always do while I've been playing retail, but I hear like solo shuffle is really like for people who enjoy PvP. It's meant to be really, really good.
Yeah, I watch retail like PvP streamers that do that. Kind of like sometimes I have it on the background.
And the first death in the arena, it's round over as well. So you don't need to like. It can't be like dragged out for ages. It's like someone dies, round over. Teams swap around.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
I think whoever wins the most wins overall. I don't know. I haven't played any, but I've watched some of it. So
So and no
Yeah.
legendaries in this arena. You're not taking fucking Thunder Fury into this arena. No.
So I knew someone would say something, so I want to address it. So Musu has said the devs said that Classic Plus is coming in recent interviews. Not directly, and I've watched these interviews. I love Hammer Dance. Shout out to Hammer Dance. Anyone who plays SOD is an absolute lovely guy. Great content. Like, absolutely go and watch him. I watched his dev interview, as well as, obviously, I listened to Josh's, as in Countdown to Classic, Josh Corbett. I listened to his 45-minute interview, Cheeky.
52.
Yeah, I was about to say Cheeky went a little bit longer, and he still tried getting longer out of it as well. I listened to it from start to finish, and trust me, listen to every word. And yes, while they hinted at Classic Plus, my point all along with Classic Plus is, what is it? If anyone can stand in front of me or sit in front of me on camera or whatever and tell me what Classic Plus is, then I'm all ears, because to me, every single person that would tell me what Classic Plus is, there might be a little bit of crossover, but everybody's view on it will be different. Like, if they launch Classic Plus tomorrow, it's going to alienate half of the community, no matter what they do. Like, they physically will not be able to launch a Classic Plus that pleases everyone, because there's some people that think Classic Plus is vanilla with no changes, but we get that unfinished content, we get those extra raids, we get whatever. And then there's other people that are like, well, Classic Plus is not that shit. Like, we want classes that are balanced. We want to be able to play the class that we think's fun, and you know, it be able to be competitive in raids, and then we get some extra content. You know, other people, it's like, well, it's on a better graphics engine. You know, it's going to be on Unreal Engine 5. It's gonna look like what Turtle Well was trying to do. Rip. Yeah, you know, like it's literally different to everyone. So I don't see it ever happening. Why would they put resources into such a risky project when they can put resources into the next expansion of retail, which they know people are going to play?
I mean, we're not even talking like what we would think about Classic Plus in this conversation, and people are already screaming that we're talking about retail changes. It's like, well, what?
Yeah. And again,
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's always hard to say what it'll be. I'm gonna remain hopeful that something will happen. I'm not exactly holding my breath on when it will, but evidently, whatever's they have plans for stuff after Season of Discovery. They're seeing what people like and what they don't like. Whether that materializes into something more permanent, it might not. But either way, I think SOD is going to have like it's going to have a long old time left. Like a good 8 to 12 months. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So.
And they did interestingly say, Willie, what's your thoughts on? So they actually think they went too far with SOD. Like, that's what they said in a developer interview. They're like, whatever comes next, we're going to scale it back. No, he didn't backtrack. He was like, we would scale it back. And Josh is in Greenfield, Agrand, agreed with him.
Yeah. Like, I thought that Tim might have started off saying it like that, but then like went back and rephrased, because he was like, yeah, they were trying to like push the limits, but they weren't intentionally trying to make it to where people weren't going to enjoy those new systems that they were trying. You know what I mean?
I remember for one of the interviews they said basically it's like the most extreme version of Classic we're ever going to do, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've gone too far, so they want to scale it back.
But
Yeah,
intentionally
they've
went
gone
too far.
for me. Yeah. They're seeing like how much stuff do people like, and I guess I'm a bit surprised at how well it's doing in part. I mean, I've heard people always bang on about it being dead and stuff, but there's still a decent population on it.
Yeah. And RCT, I'm with you, man. Don't worry. I've been on the Ashes of Creation bandwagon for like 4 years now. I'm a founder, a backer. Yeah, been on the alphas, been on spot testing, bit like maybe even recently. Yeah, like I've been very vocal about the fact that I would like to hope that my next big game is Ashes of Creation. So don't worry, I'm there with you.
Here's another one, especially for vanilla, but it also goes to TBC and Wrath. Like no cooldown on crafted mats, like no Mooncloth cooldowns or anything like that. No alchemy, transmute cooldowns. Like get rid of that shit for this stuff. Like it's accelerated to a point where like cooldowns aren't going to make sense, especially for bags. Like if you're telling me it's going to be cool to have a cooldown for people to get their bigger bags in vanilla, like no, like let people be able to craft their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. Or you just have the mastery skill. Maybe you make it very cheap to unlock, or the TBC version. What's it called? The master, where you can make, I don't know, 3 Arcanite bars. They've got it in SOD at the moment. You can make a bunch at once. They'll get cheap real fast.
So obviously we've put a lot of like thought around this very accelerated vanilla to Wrath. And yeah, I think everything that we've said is fairly obvious. Maybe not like RDF, even Raid Finder, it being very casual friendly. It's all about everybody being able to play it, so it's not about it being difficult, like the raids are easy, like all of that. But like Willie, I want to fire something your way. So, as someone who I said to you before we went live, like I was so shocked that you're not playing Season of Discovery. Like shocked me more than anyone, because like as many people probably watching, we've watched Willie's videos since vanilla, getting ready for classes in vanilla. What would it take for you to do fresh, like a fresh vanilla again, like next year? Would it need massive changes? Would it need to be accelerated? Like what has SOD got right or wrong? And I'm putting you on the spot, and there's a lot there, but.
Yeah, I think the fact that SOD isn't enough for me to want to play it kind of it's not necessarily it's the full package of raiding, because if you're speeding things up, inevitably the focus is on the end game. And I did Vanilla's endgame in 2019, did every raid, did World Bus, did the consumes, and it wasn't that good, to be honest. Pretty much, it was too easy. I just don't see myself doing it again. I feel like I've had that experience. If I was to do it again, it'd be like, this is the thing. It's kind of like it's at odds with how I like to raid. Because when I want to raid, I want to do it in like a guild. We have a group where we raid at these times, and generally I prefer playing with more try-hard groups as well, because I just think it's more fun. More people put in more effort. You tend to have like a better raid night and stuff like that, which is why I don't pug in games as well, or in WoW specifically. And unless I'm sort of in that mindset where I'm trying hard, I'm not going to go ahead and pug something. So it's like I just don't essentially have the motivation to raid in that version of the game. And if there's no challenge, then it kind of just all falls apart kind of thing. And then you get to the actual gameplay of half the classes in the game, which is just pressing one button. And you have to put in a lot of effort to press that one button as well. Like a lot if you want to do well. So essentially it's not worth trying hard to play the content. The content's too easy. The classes just aren't interesting to play. And ultimately it's just not an experience I see myself doing again, ever. On vanilla, to be honest.
So okay, all right. So I'll reframe it now. Literally exactly the same question, but what would Classic Plus need to be? So they said we're doing Classic Plus, Willie. We want you to spearhead this shit for us. get the word out there. This is what we're doing. So what would that need to look like for you to say, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll play?
I mean, for the end game, I probably still wouldn't play it that much for the exact same reasons of what I've just said. But for the most part, it'd be finishing stuff which is currently unfinished within the game, trying to expand on the classes a little bit, just adding things and sort of making the leveling journey a bit more interesting or fleshed out than what currently exists. And it wouldn't be focusing on the end game. Even Classic Plus for me, I wouldn't be focusing on the end game. I'd probably do the raids once or twice, if that.
What if it was? What if part of Classic Plus was the fact the raids were really hard? Chat. They were. We're talking like Cata levels of raiding. That was what they was aiming for with Classic Plus. It was, there was multiple levels of difficulty that didn't just involve farming fucking fire resistance gear. Yeah.
I still don't think the gameplay would be there, so I wouldn't be interested. The gameplay is too simple.
Okay.
Healers, playing a healer in vanilla is like watching paint dry. It's absolutely awful. Like, it's terrible. I played a Holy Paladin in Tier 1. I've got my Judgment in Tier 2, and I quit it. I will never heal in vanilla ever again. It is so bad.
Well, I healed. I healed in 2004, Willie, when it was even worse. So I healed.
Yeah, I
healed. And for anyone who's played WoW as long as I have, you might be able to back me up now. I played when you could literally have a macro where you pressed Flash of Light, and all it would do is heal the person with the lowest health. You didn't even need to target anyone. You didn't even need to think. You would just spam Flash of Light, and it would literally heal the person with the lowest health. Decursive.
Damn.
You would spam Decurse, and it would just decurse the people in priority order. So it would be tanks, then healers, then DPS. So you would have Flash of Light on one, Decursive, so the add-on Decursive. You would have the Decursive macro in number 2. On Chromagus, I would literally just spam 2 for the entire fight. That was it. Nothing else. Just spam 2. Didn't even need to worry about who it was targeting anyone. Like that's when it was really bad.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been, apparently. But even from a DPS point of view, I played a Warlock. You press Shadow Bolt, you can't get hit cap. And on trash mobs, you press Curse of Recklessness, so your raid's 25 warriors can do a small extra bit of DPS before you can cast a Shadow Bolt that lands because it's still traveling. Do I want to play a warrior? It was like, great, let me get on the ladder for the the 2 items that drop per boss. Sounds a lot of fun. Well, I get all my world buffs, which I don't want to get, by the way. No, I just don't see myself playing it under any circumstance, pretty much.
So Classic Plus would have to be something massively different for you to want to play. It would almost not be vanilla.
It should cater. It should cater to what exists at the moment and expand on it. It should remain easy stuff with world buffs where you can just go in and kill things and get purples, and it's pretty simple. I'd probably just not play the endgame much.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just say the stuff before the endgame, I'm already a big fan of it. I know I like it. I've done 10 level 60s during a classic in 2019. I know I like that content. I've done multiple characters to 60 on hardcore. I'll play it for that, and I'd get to the endgame, and I'd say, okay, nah, that's it.
Next
I know
character.
I don't like this stuff as much. Yeah, I'd take a break, and I'll probably make a next character a bit later. Yeah, it's fine. It's just the version of Endgame which I enjoy is much more geared towards Cataclysm.
Yeah, and obviously I can't disagree because I'm literally in exactly the same boat. If I never see Molten Core again, that suits me down to the ground. The whole one button rotations. Even TBC. TBC's great, but everything's still very simple. I think my saving grace in TBC is I've always played a Feral Druid, so power shifting, using Wolf's Head Helm, 2 set tier 4. Feral DPS was always quite interesting in comparison to a BM Hunter or a Destruction Warlock or but It's just
Yeah,
that's like thrown me because I expected you to be a lot more enthusiastic about Classic Plus. I thought you'd be like, oh
The
yeah,
end game,
Yeah.
the rating.
yeah, but that
the
is
Classic
the-
Plus.
yeah,
that's
I
the game, man. Like
That
nowadays,
is
that's
to
how
you,
we play
Scotty,
it.
but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not to Willie.
I just don't think it'd be for me. Like, even if they added new stuff, I think it should fit more with how it was in vanilla, and I don't like that. So, I mean, I might be surprised if I tried it out and be like, "Wow, this is good." Actually, I want to invest time into it, but I doubt it. Basically,
Well,
if it did come out, I probably would join a tryhard guild and see how it goes. But
I think that sort of
I don't know how much time I'd
underlines
invest.
the whole Classic Plus thing, that there's going to be a lot of people that want that say, oh yeah, we're going to get Classic Plus, and like you've straight away gone in with the assumption that Classic Plus is going to be, or not even the assumption, you've gone straight in saying that Classic Plus should be catered towards the vanilla players. It should be catered towards like easy content, you know, sort of what it's familiar, what everyone's familiar with. Whereas I think of Classic Plus as a way to actually make vanilla better, a way to make vanilla more cater to a more modern audience, rather than catering to the old school audience. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying you're right or I'm right. You know, I'm just saying like that's what my point was with. Will they do Classic Plus? What is Classic Plus? Like, there's only 3 of us here. We'll get Ghost take. But like, you know, we've got 2 completely different takes. You're like, yeah, but very much for the old school vanilla fans, it should be for them. Whereas I'm like, well, no, this is take 2. This is vanilla take 2. It's like, go back to 2004 and think, if you wasn't limited, there was no limitations when it comes to technology, much like Star Wars, they done 4, 5, and 6 first because George Lucas knew they didn't have the technology to do what they wanted to do with episode 1, 2, and 3. If you could almost go in that mindset and be like, well, what can we do now that we couldn't do then? Let's make this better. Let's take 20 years of World of Warcraft learning and let's start from the beginning and make this a fucking banger. What did they like? What didn't they like? They didn't like this. They didn't like that. You know, and then build on that rather than it actually being, oh, here's vanilla, but we're also going to add Karazhan. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's my take on Classic Plus. What's your take on Classic Plus, Go?
So now that we've moved on from this whole fresh topic to Classic Plus, for vanilla specifically, if we were talking about that, it would be post Nax if we're talking about like rating. So I would much rather it be like Molten Core is what it is. Like class balancing, I'm all on board with class balancing for a Classic Plus, but for fresh I wasn't. So yeah, like balance all the classes a little bit DPS wise, give paladins taunt, like all that shit, and let us know like what the first step, like let everything be open at the start too. So it's like, it say there was like a SOD season 2 and it was like everything from SOD carried on to like a Classic Plus. You had all the runes. Yeah, fuck me. Sully said he had a beer and he cheersed me, so I had to get another one. But let phase 1 of Classic Plus have Nax open, like everything open, like all raids, BWL, AQ, all that shit. And then like phase 2 would be like the new raid. It would be Karazhan, like whatever the fuck, but it would be level 60, like, and balance the shit out of the classes. And I'd be fine with that. Like somebody was saying earlier about like new quests change and stuff like that. If like Musu, if there was new quests and stuff, like there's a lot of quests. I've been questing for the last month, I feel like, in SOD at endgame, and I haven't gotten through them all. And I've been playing 4 or 5 hours a night. Like the questing takes forever. I guess questing would be sped up if we're talking about all these changes, because you could get around the world easier. Part of what is holding me back in SOD is it takes for fucking ever to get on the, like, to wait, not even get on, to wait for the Zeppelin to get there outside of Orgrimmar, and then to get on it, and then to go over to Stranglethorn, and then get on a flight path, and then fly up to Kargath. Like, I'm not paying for a summon, sorry. So yeah, like Classic Plus to me would be like phase 1, like almost era end game, but sod. And then phase 2 would be like brand new content. Maybe we get a new couple of like 3 dungeons, like we kind of get at the end of like Wrath and towards the end of Cata, there's new dungeons that come out. So that would be like a phase 2, new dungeons, new raid. And then it would go on to phase 3, another new raid, 2 raids, whatever, and more new dungeons. Like just keep bringing out the instance content, like the group content. Even though I'm a solo player, that now that I said that sounds really weird coming from my mouth. Like give me more group content, but I do like that for like a vanilla, for like a Classic Plus vibe,
Okay, so what if so let me think of this from Blizzard's perspective. Like Classic Plus for most people, I've got 2 points actually, so I'll burn through both of them and then you can discuss. From Blizzard's perspective, whatever they do for Classic Plus is going to take a lot of development. Ideally, when you're doing that size of development, you would want to have a box cost. I know we don't go out and buy boxes anymore. You don't go out and buy the physical copy of a game. But, they develop War Within and they get to sell War Within. And with fucking early access, you robbing cunts. Sorry, language.
Outrageous.
I bought it because I'm an idiot. But still, like, are you joking? Like, come on. I thought you was above that shit. But, when you put that length of development in, you like, Classic Plus would need to be something special for them to be able to box it up as a product and sell it before they even charge you a subscription. So, like, Season of Discovery, that's fine. Even though they're putting a lot of development time into it, arguably, if they'd done a Season of Discovery...
There's 3 people working on it, Scotty. It's fine.
Yeah, but, like, arguably, if they'd done a Season 2 or, one that you knew never had an end date, where it was like not Season Discovery, but a polished product of it next year, where it was like that ongoing forever. Where do they get the money back? That's the first point. And the second one, which I was thinking about because of Chris, I'm shouting you out, Chris, about like the Star Wars like analogy I used. What if Classic Plus was, for anyone who's played it, was very similar to Star Wars: The Old Republic, as in it was vanilla, like everything, but better graphics and like the more story driven sort of, like when you're in Westfall, it's actually going into that sort of story mode when you're picking the dialogue and like maybe your faction stand-in then has an impact on how those like how the Defiers talk to you when you're in those cutscenes and all of that. So it was almost like everything was almost identical, but just brought up to like 2024 standards, and a lot more. Yeah, it was, because everyone says vanilla is about the open world. It's about the journey from 1 to 60, not the end game. So Star Wars: The Old Republic is kind of the same, where it's like such an amazing like single player game, even though it's an MMO. Like if it was along those lines. Discuss.
It sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot of RP, and put that on the RP server. I'll roll on a PvP server. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds kind of interesting. I think some of these zones already have a decent format, and you just upset people if you change them, to be honest. Yeah. They kind of want stuff added on to the side rather than changing the existing storylines.
Like, and the look part, like when Turtle Wow had their trailer, it did look cool. But one reason I don't play retail is because everything's fucking glowy. The graphics are changed. People don't jump the same way. There's jiggle physics. Jesus. Jiggle physics in retail, perhaps. So I like my classic UI. I don't really use. Yeah, like I don't want my boomkin booty does jiggle. Actually, now that I'm thinking about the boomkin booty, but nice. Yeah, I want I still think like a Classic Plus should look classic. I mean, I'm on board with there being like a toggleable option if people want to have like the new updated graphics, if they want it to look like retail or Unreal Engine 5, whatever the fuck that is. Then yeah, if they personally want to be able to do it, then sure. But I don't want to have to use like an add-on or anything like that to change it to where that I can view the game as like the classic UI, you know, like the classic graphics. As long as I can do that without downloading something from a Curse Forge, then sure.
So Matt, I just want to
stuff looks in classic as well. Oh yeah, go on.
I just wanted to throw something at Matt because you know, obviously a really good point, but that was kind of what I was getting at. You know, as in with the whole like story-driven 1 to 60, and it being more like Star Wars: The Old Republic. Yeah, they'd need voice actors. They'd need like a fucking heavy overhaul, and how it would all be. But
or
then
they could AI that.
Well, like whatever they done with it, but you know that would then warrant you buying the game, right? You know that's what I mean. Like classic plus for me, like people just assume, oh yeah, like let's get classic plus. This is going to be great, and then it's going to be part of your sub. You know, like Season of Discovery, like classic era. For me, if they're going to do a classic plus, I'm almost of the thinking that I want to pay 40 quid for that. I want to pay £40. I want to pay $50. You know, I want to pay for it, and I want it to be fucking good. You know, like an actual product, like not just but that's where everyone will differ. So that's where, like, yeah, paying for voice actors, yeah, absolutely. Like, if we're going to bring vanilla up to classic plus standards, then it needs to be something special, not like the two devs that work on Season of Discovery adding a few dungeons and saying this is classic plus. We've finished that place off for you. Like, enjoy. Well, no, that's not classic plus. That's literally that's just another seasonal shit. Like, what's next? You know, I'm talking a full new like line of potential expansions. Yeah, an actual release. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have to pay for, like, let's say this launched in MOP, like Classic. I wouldn't want to have to pay for MOP Classic and pay something else in addition to that for a Classic Plus.
No, it'd come in your sub. Like, obviously, the monthly part would be your sub, but you'd have to buy the game. The same way I've bought like, the War Within.
I wouldn't. That's one reason I haven't bought the War Within. Like the graphics, like I was talking about, like that turns me off, and I also don't want to upgrade from WAD or whatever I stopped playing retail to catch up. Even if it's like $25, like that's still like a barrier of entry for me to want to play that.
Do you not buy games?
No, I don't. Like, I don't buy shit in game. Like Pokemon Go, I play that. Like we talk about that like every so often. Like I don't buy like the Poke coins or whatever.
No, I don't mean in-game currency. No, I mean a game. Do you not buy a game?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Pokemon Go's free, so like I don't have to buy it.
So you only play free games? You fucking tight bastard.
I pay my WoW sub. Yeah. I pay my WoW sub, and now because the WoW tokens.
Well, then you won't be able to play my Classic Plus that I'm going to work
bullshit.
On with
That's
the Blizzard dev,
Scotty.
because you need to give me $50 to be able to, you know, pay for the developer time that I've put my Blizzard team on. Like,
no,
sorry, that's just how it works.
Put the WoW store in Classic Plus and make it cosmetics. Give WoW Classic Plus players mounts and transmogs and shit like that, pets that they can buy, and that will fund Classic Plus.
There'll have to be some kind of funding. Like, I don't know about box price. Like, the thing is, part of the idea with Classic Plus is you don't have expansions. Like,
it would just be level 60, yeah?
Yeah, but surely they would have to release like new content. Like, even if it was 60, they'd have to release content packages then.
Yeah, content packages, but no leveling. You know, like no.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be leveling. Yeah,
it wouldn't be like a Northrend. You know, like a pay an extra.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be like
Northrend.
You know, you go to this new zone and you're 10 levels higher like that. I don't think that'd ever happen.
But surely you would eventually run out of room. Like, you would need something else.
There's a bunch of zones that they haven't, even with adding like
I'm not saying in 2
as one
weeks
thing.
go. I mean, like, you know,
yeah.
but like
Yeah.
eventually, if
They
the game
have
was running
years
for,
of content, I think.
if it was Classic Plus, you know, it's not going to last like 20 years. You know, like we're 20 years deep now into WoW. You know, when we're in War Within, you know, there would have to be something added.
Nah,
I mean, there'd definitely be power creep, but you just do power creep, but you don't raise the level cap.
yeah, keep the level cap. And they pulled a dungeon DFC, whatever it's called, out of thin air in Ashenvale. Like they can do a raid the same exact way. They can put a raid instance wherever the fuck they want to, like in the world. They can put one in Wintergrasp, and then like everybody be like, "Oh, cool, hell yeah, we got a snowy raid, hell yeah."
You can make a lot of content out of making gear for specs that are currently unplayable, partially because they have no gear.
Yeah, like brand new tier sets that give bonuses for stuff like
Yeah,
they've
the
been
new
doing.
tier sets are cool. Yeah, I think they're good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but how long do then? Well, unless your tier sets literally alter your character or give you abilities or, you know, whatever. But how long does that? You know, you're still pressing one over and over again. Like there's got to be an evolution of even Classic Plus. Like in my opinion, I'm not saying there has to be. I'm saying, like, in my opinion, you know, there's got to come a time where these classes get an extra ability, or these classes get access to more talents, or these classes get access to new consumables, or, you know, like an expansion.
New enchants, yeah.
I mean, like all this stuff, basically everything that happens in expansion would happen over time. It'd just take a long time. There'd even be like new classes eventually.
Okay.
But just not in the expansion though. You just have a patch where you're like, okay, new class, and that'd happen, I don't know, a few years after launch or something.
What,
it'd just be
would it be a
updates.
recycled class, or would it be like, are we talking a new class?
It could be something completely new. Like I mentioned the video a bit ago, right? The Tinker class, like they still haven't put it in retail.
Yeah.
You've got 2 engineering specs at the moment. You can have a Goblin spec Tinker that's DPS, intellect mail wearer, ranged, because, you know, otherwise one spec in the game can use that gear, or 2, I suppose. And it might be used for an alliance as well, so you can make more of that gear. You have the Goblin one, you know, they throw bombs and stuff. And you have the second spec, you need 2 specs maybe. Yeah, you have your Gnomish one, where they put down, you know, target dummies and stuff like that, and summon barriers, and they're a tank. And then 6 months later, or whatever, you do what Blizzard did with Evokers, and you release a 3rd spec. Looks like a combat medic, and like double down on your free content.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. Like, honestly, I was absolutely enthralled by what you were saying, because, yeah, I like that. You know, that's the shit that, yeah, I'd like to see Blizzard doing, like, genuinely, with.
That's a big dev time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be Classic Plus.
It'll just be like new class. Okay, we've got this thing called Demon Hunter. They've got this, you know, we're going to give them Fell Rush, and yeah, they're going to have all these other abilities now. Like, it'd be like, I'd want to see something like properly unique.
But this is the thing that I've been trying to get at, as non-bullshit as possible, is that is a fucking shit. It's great. Like, obviously, that would be fucking insane, and I would probably level one. Not probably, I'd definitely level one. But it's a lot of development time. You know, that's why when we got monks, it came with a box cost. We got demon hunters, it came with a box cost. We got evokers, it came with a box cost. You know, when you go into those realms of development, it's not just like what I think most people think Classic Plus is. It is. You know,
it would be a lot more, and that's like, it's always been the difficult bit, because it's like, are people going to want a WoW token? No. Are they going to want the shop? Also, no. Are they going to want any monetization? Actually, no. No, beyond the sub, of course.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, that Blizzard could then spend time develop. Blizzard could literally spend 1% of that time making a new mount for retail and make more money. Literally, as daft as that sounds.
Probably could, yeah.
They could literally just go, oh, we'll make a new mount and put it in the shop on retail. Rather than... I don't know exactly how... I'd love to know. I would love the information on how many actual subs they get from Season of Discovery, like right now. People who solely play Season of Discovery, not people that play SOD and retail or SOD and Cata. People that the only reason they're subbed is because they play Season of Discovery, to see how profitable it's actually been. And I know it's been an experiment for them, but at the end of the day, they're in it for making money at the same time.
I'll tell you right now, if I had to choose, because I'm playing Cata and SOD right now, if my sub had to go for one or the other, and I would have to pay extra for the other one, I would choose SOD right now over Cata. So they would be getting my $15, $12 a month, whatever it is, because of Season of Discovery right now.
Okay. Well, I think
so. I'm one.
Me and Willie don't need to say anything because.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But I don't see them splitting sub costs for anything. It doesn't make sense for the whole business model they've got going. Well, I don't know. That's like the tough bit, the whole money thing. Do you remember early in Season of Discovery they did that video with all the stats?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the 400. Yeah, you were talking about that.
They've not done that since.
Yeah. No.
I want that so bad.
Yeah.
Stats.
Yeah. So I was like, I said in the video, I was like, Blizzard never give us the number on anything, the numbers on anything, because they've got kind of shy about doing it since Warlords of Draenor. But obviously they were doing super well off it. Or like a lot of people who at least had an active sub came and checked this thing out. And I think that could happen again. But it's it's a risk. Like even if they put the WoW token in, would it be that big? Probably. And then what, you have GDKPs and people are getting mad at that and everything, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think like some of that stuff we make a bigger deal than it is, like as doing podcast streams, like I think GDKPs on the most part, they do affect people, like it knocks down. Do you know what I mean? As in, it does affect people, but those people don't realize that it affects them. If that makes sense, as in, there's a lot of people that play the game and they're not looking for a pug raid anyway. So the fact that there's a GDKP taking the people that might go to a pug, they still weren't going to join a raid anyway. They're just playing the game. They're enjoying it. They're questing, they're leveling. They might be doing some dungeons, chilling. There's a big old sort of player base out there that sort of gets overlooked, which is where they could put a little bit more focus. I personally know people that don't raid at all. They don't raid. They don't pug. They don't, literally, they're playing Cataclysm more or less every day, and they have not raided in Cataclysm yet. I know. I personally know several people that do that. My brother is a prime example. He's played WoW as long as me. Like literally, we started on the same day in 2004. And he says to me every day, like, "Why am I fucking playing Classic? Like, I need a version of the game that's got Raid Finder." Because he just wants to log on when he can be asked and join Raid Finder and just go and get some gear and like he's the ultimate casual nowadays. He never used to be. Like 10 years ago, he was literally like he's got Realm First 80 Rogue, Realm First 85 Rogue, Realm First 90 Rogue. Like he was fucking super hardcore. But nowadays, he's got kids and shit. He don't care. He just wants to just play and just enjoy the game. But
log in, play some game, not worry about anything. Yeah.
But it's increasingly difficult for that to happen nowadays. So it's how like you sort of get that where it's they've done well in Cata. Like actually, I don't want to go back to Cata too much, but like with like the rolling Valor cap and stuff, like not logging on every day or every week has got a lot less punishing, which is a really good thing. But how you do that with vanilla, I think vanilla and Season of Discovery is the biggest time sink of them all. Like you're making progress, but not very fast. I don't know.
It's like a seasonal server, but it's not going to last forever.
Yeah, I'm doing all these.
I'm a bit unsure what's happening at the end, and it's extremely grindy and Alton friendly, which doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, I'm doing all these quests right now, and I've gotten like one tiny, like maybe 2-3 spell power upgrade per 2 pieces in the past like 3 weeks. Like I've been getting such little power, and then I could go to a raid, get an item, and have like 20 extra spell power. Like it's crazy. I don't know why I'm playing that way, but yeah, it's working for me right now, I guess. But Scotty, forced faction balance is in SOD. And let's say somebody came into like this classic plus game, like your brother, after it had started, and they couldn't join the server that you played on, and they were just like, "Oh fuck it, I just won't play then because I can't create a horde tune on my brother's server." Do you think that forced faction balance is going to be a good thing to carry on to whatever comes next, or is that like, they tried it, but maybe not a good idea?
I personally think Blizzard need better technology. That's it. Like, no, I don't. Yes, I think there should be server balance. I think, or not necessarily server. There should be like faction balance across layers, or across shards, or across whatever you want to call it. So when you're out in the open world, you might see members of the opposing faction, but no, I don't really think that should be a thing. Right, as in, if I want to go and play on your server, and I'm like, oh, I can't. Sorry, like I want to come and play with you, but I can't. Like that is just in the day and age we're in now. For the amount of players that are on a server to be a limitation is bullshit. Like that's not possible. Like they must be able to have the technology to be able to, even if they've got to put some money into it, like to be able to make that not a thing. You know, I could roll on a 1% alliance server and still see alliance, like cross server, like, you know, like retail-esque, whatever, you know, where it is. Final Fantasy is a prime example. You know, all the servers where it's like juggling all the players around all the time to where you're on, layers. We'll use layers. Layers is the best example. Where, you know, when a layer spins up, it automatically goes like, right, we'll try and keep it as close to 50-50 on this layer, but the layer is cross-server. I don't think server identity makes a fucking blind bit of difference nowadays.
But
yeah, no, me neither.
Even if it was like layer, what if the layer then gets to the layer cap, and then you try to do a quest with your brother, and it's like, well, sorry, like there's too much horde on this layer, so you can't. I guess you would have to join your brother's layer. So maybe that would work.
Well, yeah. And if both of your layers was exactly 50-50, where it's exactly tipping point, then you would like to think that someone on one of those layers has just logged off. Like, you know, we're talking like
it teleports you to a third server that neither of you.
Yeah, you go
on
onto a layer, which isn't balanced or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think I would say that's more of a Blizzard's technological disadvantage more than anything else. Again, I'm not a fucking, you know, a web engineer. Like, I don't understand exactly how all that works, but, you know, I would just imagine in today's day and age, they could come up with a better way to handle that rather than just going, you can't make a horde on this server now.
Yeah, the way they've set up servers in vanilla just seems really bad. Like, genuinely not good. It seems like it's just full of limitations, which nowadays don't make any sense. I mean, ideally, I'd have it how RuneScape does their servers. You can just log in. You're not tied to a server. You just log into whichever server you want and play there.
Oh, okay.
And people will figure out their own things, what they want servers to be for. There'll be a server you raid on. There'll be a server where, you know, there's people who want to PvP more. People will figure out what they want servers to be.
Oh, like a grindy server too? Like I can go to this dead server and farm all these
Yeah.
mining nodes, level up my profession, and then come back to a different
yeah,
server?
if you want to.
Oh.
Hmm.
I wonder how the auction house would be tied. Like, would each server have their own auction house, or would it be like
It
one
probably should be it would just be global.
global auction house?
They've got that retail, right? Or it's faction specific, but it's region wide, right?
Yes. I believe it's region wide. Yeah.
Yeah, region, but faction, I think.
I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sure. I know if I go to the auction house, there's fuck tons of everything. So
Yeah,
like,
you could log in the dead server and there's like 16,000 of something. It's like there's no way.
yeah,
That would be there normally.
yeah. So I'm not
I
100%
think,
sure. I've not looked into it, but like I was buying today to do work orders in my garrison. I was buying like true iron ore, which who the fuck's farming true iron ore, and there was still like 30,000-40,000 of it on the auction house for 50 silver a piece or whatever. It's definitely much wider than just the server.
Yeah, I think for Stod, the whole 50-50 split thing's a good idea, but people just abuse layering.
Yeah,
Like,
I hate the layers.
If you pick a PvP server and you're like, okay, and you understand what PvP is in vanilla, which isn't always fair. 50-50 should be like ideal. This should be there cannot be a better scenario than this. And then people are like, okay, well, Alliance we're gonna go layer 2 and Horde on layer 4. Oh, I'm on layer 4 and I logged in, I need a layer kind of thing. And I don't really think there's a solution to that anytime soon. Which is a shame, because like theoretically, this is how it should be, and this is what people who play in the PvP servers should want it to be.
And there's other issues with layers too that people will run into. Like I'll be doing a quest and then I'll randomly shift to another layer and then everything's fucking respawned. It's like, what? I just cleared this whole fucking path and now everything is back. Like, why did I just get layered? Like, there's so much shit with layers. Like I can't stand it sometimes. But like I refuse to get that add-on. People are like, oh, can somebody layer me off of 4? And I never respond to those guild messages because I have no fucking idea what layer I'm on. I don't think people should be able to see what layer they're on. Like,
yeah, it's just annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like it either.
All right. Well, any other big things that well, anything you want to talk about really when it comes to either Classic Plus or like a seasonal vanilla to RAF server? Just anything you want to bring up, because I'm gonna go make a gin. I'm all out of beer.
I got a pee too because we've been going on for a little while. But one big thing for TBC that I had listed down here was the whole like lusting rotation, like switching shamans around groups to get lust for the same 4 people. I thought that was a bunch of bullshit back in TBC. So I guess a simple solution would be just give sated or whatever. So like once you've gotten lust, you can't get it again for however many minutes. So that was my big TBC gripe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the whole shaman meta. Like, swapping people in combat so you can lose them again is just so dumb, it's unbelievable. Like, if people were seriously doing this a lot back in the day, Blizzard would have instantly nerfed it. There's no way they'd have left that in the game. But yeah, I guess it wasn't very popular. People just, they didn't try hard as much as we do now. But yeah, it just feels really dumb to do. They should make it raid wide. I mean, I don't even like group wide buffs.
Oh yeah,
all.
Same.
Like any of them, straight up any of them. Like Wind Fury, Moonkin, the Aura, anything. Like, I just prefer them to be raid wide. If people want a class stack more, then it is what it is. But not having that one buff can just feel so bad.
And then I guess on top of that, back in Classic and maybe even in TBC, we didn't really get the cooldowns resetting at the when the boss would when you would wipe after 30 seconds. So that'd be kind of neat to have that back in Classic. I know Warriors would have their 30-minute cooldown and they would have it for one boss fight. That would make Warriors even more OP in a vanilla launch having whatever that shit is. But
yeah,
I like having that now, and boomies have battle res, a 30-minute battle res right now in SOD has its benefits because I can be oh sorry, I can't do it, it's on cooldown, but it also kind of gives a little bit of extra value. It's like, yeah, I got B-res, sure. Like for every pool, you know, like if cooldowns reset in vanilla, like a vanilla fresh, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah. What do you think about mass res?
That'd be better than only single resing. Like even in SOD right now, if there was like a mash res, like I'd be cool with that. I can res now as a druid, like that's fucking cool. But
That's true, yeah.
even in like an Ubers, you know, we would have a couple of people die, and you know, if the healers are trying to drink up, like if I could just as a DPS mash res everybody with one cast, that'd be huge.
I'd have it in. I'd have it in for anyone who can res. Like, what a waste of fucking time. You know, like that's how I look at it. It's like, well,
yeah,
I can stand here and res and then drink and then res a couple of people and then drink and then res and then they can res. But like, ultimately, you're doing exactly the same thing, but just wasting a fuckload of time when you could actually be pulling a boss or, you know, doing something meaningful. So no, I think if I wouldn't have everybody. Like I moaned about it. So I'm sort of going to contradict myself here a little bit, but sometimes Blizzard do things where I moan about it to begin with, and then when it's in practice, I'm like, actually, it does kind of make sense. So, you know, when it was going to be the guild perk was mass res, I was like, well, the fuck have you removed that? But now I've kind of got used to the fact that it's like, well, if you can res, you can also mass res. And that actually is a really good happy medium. I think that's great, actually. I think that was a really sensible change, which I didn't like originally.
No, yeah, I'd prefer mass res. Like playing the healer, I can only imagine having to res one person at once. It'd be so bad. But the only thing people wouldn't like is you could do some like skips in dungeon and stuff, but or whatever, I guess. I don't know. People might die next to a wall and then like have a druid stealth through and then mass res everyone kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, mass res I would have in a vanilla plus or a vanilla fresh seasonal server of some description. But then the whole guild system, like that would be like if we were talking heirlooms, like if you was going to do vanilla TVC Wrath, like, and you didn't want to put in like heirloom chest, shoulder, like the things that you buy in Wrath, like you will be able to buy them when you get to Wrath. But you could have like the guild system as we got it now, where actually when you're doing quests and that, you get the rep, and then you could even put the mop legs in there. So you're going to get the, you know, legs, head, and cloak heirlooms with your guild, and you're going to get the extra XP, which is going to speed it up. You're going to get, all the... I'd even have cauldrons if you wanted, like, whatever. But yeah, again, I think it's very much... It would be a version of the game... I think it would be a version of the game that everyone would enjoy. Because it would be almost the same as it was, but, yeah, just quality of life. We're not talking things that would change the way the game plays. We're just talking about things that make everybody's lives easier when you're playing the game.
Yeah, it's like when you pull a boss, that bit's the same. But a lot of the things that happen before are a bit different, like getting world buffs and needing to farm gold and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, gold, as I say, I would have gold almost fucking... Not non-existent, but gold shouldn't be important on a seasonal server. Like, it not to raid. It should be important, like, you know, if you want to buy BOEs, you want to buy, like, the real big items or get the real big crafted items, then, yeah, you need to find a way to make gold. But it should never... you should, like, Season of Discovery, Phase 2 nearly fucking killed me. You know, like, as in, it was pissing me off.
That cost from the Noma stuff.
Yeah, it was pissing me off.
That was insane when I first learned about that, yeah.
It made me not want to raid, because I was like, man, I'm literally farming, like, even if I was farming for a couple of hours a day, like, that's still too much when I don't want to do it. Like, I just want to log in and I want to raid. You know, not be having to fucking farm gold just to be able to buy, potions, be able to buy shit to be able to make my alchemy potions from the recipe from Gnomeregon. And I know, like, I sound like a whiny bitch to people that are listening. But yeah, you know, you enjoy season discovery. You want to be doing all that shit. I wanted to log on and raid with the boys. You know, like I was playing Wrath, like or the Cata Beta. Like I was playing on SOD to play with the guys. I didn't want to be having to like. I didn't want the entry fee to play with the boys. Was I have to farm a few hours every week just to get gold to be able to raid. So yeah, like scrap that in a seasonal server. But they've done it. They've done Mop Remix. They've done Mop Remix almost right. They just let the power spike just get fucking ludicrous. That was the
like the cloak.
Yeah, they kind of left it. They're like, just get as powerful as you want, whatever.
You get plus 150,000 stamina on your cloak. It's fine.
You want to grind all day in solo raids? Yep, go for it.
The thing is, it was the whole when they allowed what was it? Was it 2 weekends ago, where it was like free to play, and WoW had actually put a warning out to people that are using a trial account to boost. It was like, be aware, you might get to 21. Like that's not good, because what you actually do on Mop Remix is you have a trial account, obviously that's capped at 20, and then you upgrade your cloak to crazy fucking amounts, so your level 20 can boost other characters literally to 70. Like Chunk was doing it. Chunk had a priest, and he would literally just go through dungeons, and I'd just follow him. And he had a disc priest that he'd just run through, and it'd like one-shot everything. That kind of got a bit out of hand, so that's not perfect. But the fact that there was no economy because it was a seasonal server, like that's like kind of the route that they should go down. I don't know if does anyone even care about that shit anymore? Like, I know some people really flex on the amount of gold they got in game, but
gold.
They wouldn't have fresh, yeah.
I mean, like now,
even if it's seasonal on a fresh, yeah, people would want it to matter. Like
on
now
Cata, no, not on Cata.
Gold hasn't meant anything since like early TBC.
Yeah, it's like, it hasn't to me. It's like just kind of irrelevant. It's at the start of the expansion. I'll make sure I got a decent amount of gold to make sure if there's any of those big pre-bis items that I want to buy, I've got them. And then the rest of the expansion is like, can I buy a flask? Oh, yes, I can. This is great. Like, I'm set.
Can I? Cata, it's like, can I? Oh wait, my guild does a flask and food for me. I'll just buy some potions and turn up. Job done.
Yeah.
I just got over 1k gold in SOD, and now I finally feel like I can buy consumes and stuff for a raid. I don't know how it's gonna feel once I do. Like once I buy my flask of supreme power, my weapon oil, my greater arcane elixirs, my fire protection potions. I don't know what my goal is going to look like after I do all that. So if I'm down to like 500 gold after spending all that like gold up front for the
is it genuinely that expensive? Go like genuine question. Like
I've heard that it's not, but I don't know. I'm nervous because I would want to show up to raid with everything. You know, I would want to have my greater arcane elixirs for Shazra. Like I would want nature protection potions or whatever later on down the line once we get into AQ and all that stuff. So like I don't know how much gold I would have to spend to get into a raid like where I would feel comfortable getting into a raid, you know?
Sounds like you should play retail, bruv. Come join the dark side. Get on the dark side.
That's why I just joined Cata. Like Cata raiding, like I know like gold doesn't matter in Cata for me, but SOD I still don't know. I need to spend gold for enchants, so like I don't know how much a 30 spell power enchant is going to cost for my weapon, you know, like that might be a couple hundred gold right there.
Well, have you got anything to add? I mean, we've gone for 2.5 hours. If you've got anything to add, like there's no rush, by the way. I don't need to go anywhere, but yeah, like if you
I mean, we've covered like a lot of specifics, but just like overall, like generally, things that take a long time should just be sped up. You know, like for Wrath, I had faster Val and Shadowmourne materials or whatever, and that, like it got sped up in what we've just gone through. But if it's an even faster cadence it needs to get sped up even more, you know? So like just anything like that, then speed everything up. And yeah, the cooldown thing, like I was talking about earlier for professions, get rid of all that shit. If people were able to get an ult leveled up, I'm sure there's going to be many people that could, in a faster cadence, have ults, make reps and attunements account wide. Like, no reason to have to grind a rep up to an exalted rep twice for anybody, even vanilla, TBC, whatever.
Okay, so a serious question that let's leave this on then. And we'll round it off nicely. We can all put our opinion in. Do we think it would be more successful and profitable for Blizzard to do a fresh start, accelerated vanilla to RAF, seasonal type server, or I use the term seasonal loosely, however long you want it to be, whether it's 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, whatever that sort of length of time looks like, and then they rinse and repeat, or a Classic Plus, which you can interpret Classic Plus however you want that to be interpreted. Fuck me. Pure silence.
I'm torn. I'm torn because I don't want to play vanilla like Boomkin again, because I would stick with Boomy, and vanilla Boomkin fucking sucks. So if it's like a redo of vanilla Boomkin with no changes to like talents or what is it, class balancing, that would it'd be a big turn off.
Would make more in the first month than a fresh seasonal would in a few years.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I've no doubt in my mind. So many people would come to check it out. Most of them would probably leave, but just the promise of something new would get people in. Fresh would appeal, or like a seasonal would appeal to a much smaller, but like hardcore audience, I think.
Yeah, I would play either. Don't get me wrong. If it was like an option of only one, then I would play whichever one came out. If both came out, I would probably check out the one that had more changes to it,
Yeah, I'll be on Classic Plus easily. No competition.
But I do like PTRs. So even if it is like a Classic Plus, if it doesn't have PTR and things are just, you have to discover it. Oh, it's so nice. No, I don't want to fucking discover anything. Like, give me the PTR, give me the heads up. Let me know what's coming. Yeah, let me know what's coming for this next phase. Do I want to play this phase or do I not want to play this phase?
And I would go the complete opposite way to both of you. I would say the development cost versus reward, a seasonal just rinse and repeat bullshit that they can put out over and over again with a few tweaks each season, with a couple of weeks of work, would make more money long term. But I do agree with Willie that the promise or the thought of something new would draw a lot of people in for a Classic Plus. And I think there would be so much disappointment and hate if they done it wrong, or if it was something that somebody, a group of people didn't want, that it would either be an absolute winner or a big flop, like one or the other.
Yeah,
but I think that
it's high risk, but season discovery it proved how hyped people get for something new, especially when it's vanilla.
But overall,
big risk.
We're ready for a fresh something. SOD's gone through its thing. Phase 5 is not going to really be fresh. It's going to be BWL. Cool. And maybe we discover one other thing that's new. But yeah, like they're begging for something fresh.
I mean, there's a certain server out there. There's certain amphibious reptile server.
I said I didn't have any segues, but today's sponsor for the episode is not.
What is it? What is today's sponsor?
Today's sponsor is Manscaped. All of us have freshly trimmed beards, and no.
They've been doing a lot of things right on that server by the sound of it. Like, I don't know. It'd be weird, right? If Classic Plus ever happened, they'd pretty much have to be closed down, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Big drama on that one. Watch this space. That Astarius 2.0.
Well,
R.I.P.
I was under the I thought they had been, or was in the process of being shut down.
No, I thought it was just their trailer, like their YouTube. or
They
whatever
got some
shut
YouTube
down.
video taken down.
They got
Yeah.
copyright stricken on YouTube, but
That's
I didn't
it.
think their
Yeah.
server got like taken down or anything. Oh, they got hacked.
Do we know where they're hosted?
Kazakhstan.
I don't know. I'm not convinced about the whole hosting thing. It's like very obviously copyright infringement. I think the
Yeah.
whole hosting things, people, it's people own
Yeah,
the
they're-
servers trying to. It's people who own the servers trying to convince people to play on their servers and their characters will be safe. You're like very clearly redistributing copyrighted content of an interest to replace the original product.
Yeah, I just heard
There's
if
no
they
way.
was
It's
hosted in
not.
Russia, they can do what they want.
There's no way. There's no way. I think people just make that up. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I don't
is it
know.
worth
I've
looking
never
into?
looked into
You
it.
see-
I don't know.
You see what happened with Astarius, right? The amount of drama it get. If Blizzard closed a server, it's on like the news. Everyone's talking about it. Maybe they don't want that drama. Maybe it's not worth it. Like they didn't close any RAF servers, did they? When they did RAF, why not? Didn't close anything for TBC. Probably
No.
more trouble than you think it is. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like they actually they get a lot of people from private like the MOP private server community will flock to Blizzard when they do MOP Classic because they've got all that experience, all that knowledge. They want to go on there and get race for server first, and I know all the guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I've played with them all. I've played with all the TBC private server community that done really well in TBC. I played with all the RAF private server community that done really well in RAF. Not so much Cata, because Cata didn't have as much of a big private server scene. But
Yeah.
like all the people that was, in the top 10 world first clears in RAF, I was on the same private servers as them for the last 4 or 5 years. So I think a lot of them will flock. I think it does a more good than harm.
Yeah, it's just it's probably just not worth the effort of trying to close them in the long run. Especially when they saw what happened with Astarius. It'll be a big fuss if they ever do it again officially. A very big fuss.
Yeah, and Astarius was massive though. I mean, there ain't really
Yeah.
the only thing they could possibly go after what was anywhere even close is Warmane, which I don't even think Warmane since RAF actually launched in Classic, even that isn't anywhere near as big as it was.
Nah, yeah.
Right, cool. All right, well, unless anyone's got anything to add, we can round this out.
There's just one more thing I
Cool,
had on
Steph.
my notes.
Fucking
Just
is this-
one fucking more thing.
Remember, me and Willie are in the UK where it's actually late.
Hey,
Yeah.
I know. I'm taking that. Well, I need to go on holiday in like 5 hours. I need to get on the road, so I'm thinking about that too. And I still need to eat and do laundry. So, if there was,
I hope you're
like, a
not driving,
fresh-
sunshine.
in 5 hours. Yeah,
Oh, have you not been drinking all night and you're going to drink in 5 hours?
I've had 5 beers, so like 1 beer per hour to sober up. It's 5
Oh yeah,
hours.
that's fine. Yeah,
Do the math. Do the math.
Yeah. It adds up.
Yeah.
yeah, perfect.
So if it was like a progressive, like fresh, something that they could do would be have like events on those like era servers. Like give double XP for vanilla after TBC comes out for like a weekend or something like that. And like once Wrath is out, then you could have double loot in vanilla for one weekend and then double reputation in TBC for a weekend or something like that. Like the catch up mechanics, but make it like a weekend, kind of like they do for its AB weekend, its Warsong weekend, stuff like that. So in any sort of like systems where they could have catch up mechanics that aren't really systems. You know what I mean? Like it's just you can get double honor, you can get double conquest on this version of the game for this weekend on this time. You know what I mean?
They start doing that in MUP, by the way.
Hell yeah. Like bring that shit on for whatever comes next for us classic
good, yeah.
Andes.
Yeah, but again, like, it would all be about speed. Like if it was how I'd personally like to see it, it would all be about speed. But yeah, again, I think it's really interesting, you know, that it's not gonna suit everyone. You know, like Willie wouldn't play my game. I don't like that. He wouldn't. He don't want to do vanilla again. You know. So like, is basic not good enough? And I don't want to open a whole can of worms and start all over again now. So like, yeah, you know, I just like it might not be enough nowadays. You know, like not for everyone. Like everyone wouldn't flock back to 2025 fresh classic like they did 2019 classic. No matter how quick it was, like it would just need more. Like I think Blizzard need to do more.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of like, there's so much vanilla right now. Like SOD, I've gotten kind of my vanilla fix. So even if this thing started at TBC, I'd be totally fine with that because I might be on board with Willie. I might play whatever fresh vanilla comes, but I don't know how much I would really play. Like I wouldn't really be interested, I don't think, but I'd be much more interested in a TBC, like starting from TBC, going to Wrath.
I'd play a TBC server. I'd play a TBC fresh by Blizzard, you know, an official TBC server. I'd play tomorrow. Literally. If they turned around tonight and said, we're launching a TBC server tomorrow, nothing serious, you know, but yeah, we're gonna launch new, like each tier is gonna come every 4 months, whatever it's gonna be. I'd play it.
The vanilla, if it was a vanilla fresh thing and it was like no change or minimal change, like quality of life changes sort of thing, I would level up to 60 just so that I could get to TBC level 70 faster. Like I would have a 60 ready for launch, you know?
I just hate, like Lee straight away just put, like I just pinned on screen, he put till tier 5. These guys just know me so well, and that is, like, he's 100% right. I'd do tier 4, I'd skip tier 5, I'd come back for Black Temple. Like, yeah, you know, like TBC, I've done so many TBC private servers. I've done exactly the same in TBC Classic. I fucking hate SSC and TK. I think they're two of the shittest raids ever, and that's going to hurt some people because some people will love them. But, like, yeah, I love tier 4. I think Black Temple's a great raid. High Jewel is fairly shite. Like, you do it once, great, the first time, and then, you know, it's just a massive trash farm. And Sunwell's pretty decent as well, but I detest tier 5 in TBC. But the pre-raid TBC going into tier 4 is fucking almost perfect, in my opinion. Anyway,
well, you Brits can get your sleep now. I need to get my sleep too. But shout out again to Main Dingus. I don't know if we did shout him out. A super chat earlier. Classic Plus, except Arthas does a mangina and Strathholm is revived. I think that one kind of like went by us. I saw it and I laughed. And
you're ready. You're like,
Yeah, I forgot to shout it out. So yeah, Main Dingus, thank you. But we'll be back a little over a week because I'm on holiday here, and the 21st of August is the next show, and we've got at least one dev from the WoW Sims that's going to join us, and we're going to pick their brain about WoW Sims and like what it takes to be a dev for WoW Sims, because everybody uses that service and kind of, I feel like, doesn't really think about what goes on behind the scenes. They're like, yeah, obviously this should be a thing. Like, we need to have access to this tool. And we're going to try to ask them, you know, like what goes on behind those scenes to make that tool available to everybody for free. But Willie, thank you again for joining us for the umpteenth time and letting us have a chat with you on what you think about what should be coming next for Classic.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Yeah. Always up to them talking about WoW.
Scott, he's still laughing about Mandingus.
I'm laughing at Mandingus. I am laughing exactly at Mandingus. And it weren't until Sam Medina said Mandingus again. I tried to not laugh the first time you said it. And I was like, it's not even funny, Scott. Like, grow up, man. How old are you? Like, it's not funny. And then when I read Sam Medina says Mandingus again, I was like, that is fucking hilarious. No.
And as a moderator of your YouTube, I can see that it was their 10th super chat on a live stream. What a fucking legend.
Mandingus is a big dingus. What a legend.
Yeah, big fucking dingus.
The return.
Yeah, what a big dingus. No, Willie, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Keep smashing Cata.
Yeah, no problems. Like, yeah, whenever you want to talk about something, yeah, drop me a message. Definitely, come on.
100%. And go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lining these shows up for us like week after week, day after day.
You ain't got fucking Mandingus on here yet, have you?
Mandingus, you're welcome. On the 21st, if you have anything to say about WoW Sims, yeah.
But no, yeah, Go has been putting a lot of work in to this, to be fair. So shout out to Go. Like, yeah. He was like, let's get Willie on for this. He lined up Geordie and Mr. Sully last episode. He's lined up WoW Sims for the next one. So yeah, Go's doing the majority of the heavy lifting. I literally go, what time is it, Go, and where do I need to be? And then I turn up and get drunk. Like, that's pretty much what happens.
Oh, it's today.
yeah, that's more or less what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
But no, guys, thank you. Everyone who super chatted, thank you. Anyone who's subscribed because they've watched this amazing, really long VOD of us rambling about something that will probably never happen, thank you. Anyone who's watching on Kick, I don't know quite how much time I've got left. And you know what I'm talking about, but I will be coming back for at least an hour or so before I go to sleep. For anyone who does care that's watching live on YouTube, I've been doing a subathon on Kick literally since Friday. So I've been streaming non-stop since Friday. Friday at 11 a.m. my time. So as in, I've now been streaming for in the region of 70-something hours. And there's not that long left, like 5 or 6 hours left, I think. But I'll be going live on Kick straight after this. A subathon is fairly basic. You sub, it adds time. But preferably don't come over and add time, because I want those last few hours to just go, and then I can go and actually see my wife. Actually, fuck it. Can you come over and add some time, please, guys? That would be great. Cool. Cheers, guys. You're all amazing.
Cheers.
Peace out.
GG's.
We're calling it there, but it does take a minute for chat to catch up. So, Go. Where are you going on holiday?
I'm going to the woods, man. I'm going hiking. It's going to be my first solo backpack trip. So you can kind of see my backpack on the carpet over there.
That is so sad. You're going on holiday on your own.
And then my son's been across the country in California, but all of my other, I guess I can't really show you. All my other hiking stuff was over there. But he's coming back into town Wednesday. So like I'm going overnight backpacking trip and then meeting back up with the kiddo before school gets underway here in like 3 weeks.
Nice.